Hello, hello, hello. Welcome on in, everybody. Hey, thank you for the subs, the resubs. Any bits, anything? Let me scroll back. I'm just gonna think for any, like, gifts. Actually, no, I can't scroll that far back. Sorry. I can't. You know, when, you have a lot going on in the activity feed and it only shows you the last couple of things. It's doing that. But thank you all. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. For anyone giving, gifting, resubbing, all of that. All right, I want to start with right now the let me go here. The Tiltify charity link that we have up. If mods, can we post that again? It is up to 921,000, which is ridiculous, but we're up to 921,000 in the course of just a couple days, which is crazy. Thank you all if you gave anything. If you didn't, but you've been boosting it even in any way, thank you for that. It's huge, absolutely huge. So yeah, we're almost at 1 million, which is crazy. So thank you again. There have been a lot of companies, a lot of VTubers, a lot of community members, random people who don't have anything to do with any of this but just want to help because they're pissed or because they're just like, hey, that's good and I want to do that. You know, like any amount of it from anyone is just, I'm so thankful for it. So thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. But yeah, I appreciate that. I also will say Tiltify themselves actually tweeted a little bit ago. They did this like 30 something minutes ago. And they turned on a dono match. So they said, like, up to 5K, anything that anyone donates will be doubled. And they, within a couple of minutes, immediately that 5K match was, like, taken. So it was really nice that Tiltify did it themselves. Tiltify is not, like, some giant, huge money-making company that can, like, throw a bajillion dollars at everything. So they were like, yeah, we'll do a little match. And it was just funny that it, like, you know, they're like, oh, 5K to it. And it was just done like instantly, vaporized. So yeah, like 6 minutes, right? Nuts. But yeah, thank you all. Thank you all if you've given anything, even a cent. It's appreciated. But yeah, it's been a week. It's been a couple days. I just streamed on my alt channel yesterday and didn't stream here because I was like, I want to take a day to chill. So I was around, but, you know, had nothing to add or say for a day, you know, because I figured that's always good, always better. But yeah, and now we're here. Yeah, it's only Wednesday. It's only Wednesday, man. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for pinning that. Appreciate it. Link is still going.
Huge congrats, by the way, on your marriage to Nimi. So happy for you guys.
Thank you, my one true love. What is alt channel? Why'd you type it all caps? Are you okay? You do exclamation point alt. I'll put it in the title. I'll put it in the title for you. What is alt channel? There it is. There it is. But yeah, I don't know. There's been so much that's been like said, added, whatever, over the last like 48 hours, and I'm like, my brain is like spinning, but at the same time, I'm trying to just not like go crazy. You know, I'm trying to not look at every little thing because I'm like, I already know what I know, and it's just right. Sudsies, thank you for the 5 gifted. I appreciate that. But I want to say it's nice that a lot of people can now, like, they feel like they can now say something about the various situations they've got going on. That's nice. That's good. At the same time, I'm a bit concerned that some people are being really sloppy and saying things that they probably shouldn't, or not yet, at least, right? Some people sound incredibly maybe not lawyered up in consulting about what they should say, which is a little, you know, scary. It's not me, so, but still. Yeah, I just think people should, like, think a lot, you know? I think there are also a lot of people that are like so tangentially related, and I'm glad they can finally say a thing, but I'm like, hey, maybe wait a little bit. Like, you know, let's keep the focus on the, you know that analogy they're saying like there's a bunch of houses on a street burning, and some of them are completely up in flames, and others just have like one tiny little smoking something in the basement. They're like, let's take care of the big ones first. There's a lot that is just like, I'm like, this isn't that big of a deal right now. Is it big? For that person, probably. But, you know, yes, a lot of people venting. I think it's still good at the end of the day. Like, total at the end, it's good that people are able to say stuff. But, you know, I want to keep the focus on the positive and keep the charity link going, for sure. For sure. No, I wouldn't call it main character syndrome. That's too much. They're just speaking their truth. I wouldn't call it that. But yeah. So I'm just glad that there are some things coming to light where these people like really should be able to speak at some point, and it's good to see. It's just good to see. But yeah, I want to say if anyone doesn't want to speak or doesn't want to say anything, that's fine. That's completely fine. Realistically, it only affects us, right? A lot of people are getting emotionally invested when it has nothing to do with them, and I'm thankful that people are vindicating how we feel. You know, I'm thankful for that. At the same time, some people are getting so hyped up over something that will never change their lives. So, you know, don't worry too much. Did they make you all sign NDAs? Yes. I wanted to, you guys can ask questions, and I wanted to maybe debunk a couple of things. I've seen some stuff that is like wildly untrue, huge assumptions, some things that are people reading things that people wrote and just spitting them back out incorrectly instantly. I'm just like, ugh, here it goes. Like, you know, classic internet. But I'll go through and say what I can, you know, some things. And whenever anyone brings something up, it makes it a lot easier for me to then say something about it or talk about it. There will always be details that maybe I won't bring up, or I'm like, you know. But yeah, so I'll just go through. Let me see. I'll go through. You guys can just ask questions, and I'll say what I can. People asking if I knew about members joining and stuff like that. Okay, so this is. I'd like to talk in more detail maybe later about some of it, but what I will say for right now, a lot of the names that were like, oh, by the way, I was going to join or something like that. No clue. There were some names I did know about only very recently. There are some names I've never heard. Genuinely, I was just like, what is this? Like, I can't confirm or deny if this person's telling the truth or whatever, because I genuinely have not heard about it. Not saying I think any of them are lying. I'm just saying, like, that's the extent to which I didn't know about some of this stuff. There's some people that I did, for sure. I've been very upset about how some of that has gone down. One person in particular is someone who's been a close friend of mine for a very long time. So one of the people I think in this community I've known the longest, longer than anyone else. I'm talking over a decade, like someone I really care about. And this person was one of those that was gonna join, and she didn't tell me for the longest time because she was being good, as she should. She was staying close to her NDA, not telling anyone at all, you know, which is good. You should do that, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I don't think NDAs are evil or anything. They have a real purpose. And I was like, that's fine. But then when things started looking a little not good publicly and everything, then I ended up talking to her. I even found out earlier and was just like, oh, that's my friend. Like, I would have liked to know earlier so I could have maybe helped her, like, get ready and stuff like that. You guys will find out. But yeah, it was like I would have really liked to know some of this earlier. I will say we had been wanting to know who the new members were going to be for a really long time. I had been asking for a really long time, and I didn't know. I had been in meetings where they would talk about vague plans of, we'd like to do something along these lines, add some people, things are going well, you know, that's all moving along. And we'd be like, cool, so you have people? They'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, okay, who? And there would just be like no answer. And I was like, why not? Is there a singular reason you can think of? to not say like a name? I don't, like, shouldn't we be able to bring them in, help them, get them ready, do stuff like that, right? No answer. Right? So this is something that had been going on for a really long time, and that was one of the things that I brought up as a concern instantly. I was like, hey, why? Right? Like, just like, I wasn't gonna assume anything really good, really bad, or whatever. I was just like, this is not historically how I've been told this would go. I have been told this would be a group effort, that we'd be able to, you know, at least talk about this. Being told we have people for you to join your group that we care a lot about and we're very protective of, you know. We're not gonna tell you who, though. We were like, what? Huh? Right? I was just really confused, and a lot of us were like, is there actually a reason? Like, we couldn't think of a singular good reason for that. So that was confusing. I know it's always been confusing, and I'm still confused by it. Like, I couldn't tell you why, you know? Like, we were just like, huh. The only thing I can think of is to avoid people leaking, maybe? Right? Like, if I'm told about it, and then I start, like, rating them a lot or giving hints. That's the only thing I could think of, maybe. But even then, like, Alma was joining, and none of us did anything to kind of clue you guys in. I was joining. I was always friends with people. No one actually was sitting there, like, being like, oh, yeah, she's 100% joining. Right? There were no real clues. There was one thing that did actually get leaked, but that wasn't any members' faults, you know? So, like, it's just something where we were like, what is happening? So, you know, I was just a bit surprised this week, yesterday especially, seeing some people talk about their experiences. And I think the most shocking thing for me is some of them saying they were signed back as far as what sounds like maybe around January. Because I had been asking, like, since then, hey, can I know, though? And it wasn't made clear to me if they had actually signed anyone or not. I was under the impression no one was actually signed. I was under the impression that these were in talks, right? That it was in that kind of phase. And information was presented around winter time of, hey, you know, we've been working on this. We have some people. We're getting plans prepared, you know? So I was like, okay, cool. And that was it. That was all. Like that, right? And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, she said they were supposed to have debuted by now. Yeah, so we were told at some point some information, which was like the kind of general idea, and then sometime way later, more recent, they told us just a couple of names of who was joining. I saw my own close friend in that list of names, and I was like, oh my god, yay, you know, yay. At that point, I already knew I was like, I knew I was leaving, so I was like, oh, ooh, you know, like, all right. But still, I was happy for my friend to be doing something cool. And so I saw a couple of names. I was like, that's neat. However, and I went back to concerns I had brought up months ago about, I don't think we should be pulling in more people until certain things are fixed or figured out. Just normal concerns, not even about some of the stuff that's recently been revealed. Christopher, thank you. Other concerns, because like I said, the reasons why I left weren't just this stuff. It was like other issues and reasons that I had before that were, in my mind, a lot simpler, honestly. Just stuff where I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. And then this was on top of that, right? So I don't know. There was just a lot going back where I was like, things in my mind had not been going too well for them for a long while. And I felt that way for a long while. And then they wanted to bring people in. And I said, I don't know if we should be bringing anyone in when these issues are here. I don't know if I like that, especially with smaller talent, because let's talk about money for a second. Be very realistic about this. When you are a company, the nature of your company is when you bring someone in, they don't instantly get hundreds of thousands of followers when you bring in someone who's a small name, who doesn't have any prior audience, who doesn't have any prior anything they're bringing with them, right? This is not a company that just debuts someone unknown and they get a billion people following them. That's not what this company has. We have our own communities individually that do support other people, but for the most part, they're there for us, the members, you know? So I was saying that, and I was like, let's be realistic. That's how this company is. So if we bring in a small talent, they're not going to get like blown up to stardom. There's a chance still, but it's not like high. It's not likely or guaranteed or anything like that. It's a small chance. What's more likely to happen is you bring someone in, they get noticed a bit, they get a little bit of a boost, right? Not enough to take the cuts that you take of the things that they make and pay back for the money you put into them. Not enough. You would be running on a negative on them. If we had a lot of money, I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Because if we're profitable in other places and then you want to throw extra funds into that just to support it, that's its own thing. That's cool. I'm totally fine with that. But I was like, guys, I don't think we're in that position. This is, at the time, me not knowing the exact financial situation, but me having looked at things for a long time and been like, yeah, it's probably not going to work, right? I just knew for a long time, like, this is not this is not set up well in a way where we're going to be like super profitable on our own. So I was like, I just don't think we're in a position to do this. And I got pretty much like silence as an answer, like in a call, pretty much silence. And some like, well, we're trying to something. It was just a lot of like nothing, you know, a lot of nothing. And some words were said that basically were just hot air, you know. And I was like, well, all right, so you want me to be okay with when later I found out one of the people was one of my own friends. I was like, now I'm extra mad, right? Like, I have to watch you potentially promise a friend of mine a bunch of things that I know you can't really help with. My friend, someone who wants to do music. Okay. Can you pay for a concert for this person? No. Because they hadn't been covering stuff like that for any of us. They hadn't been covering anything for us. So if someone comes in, they want to do like music, which means getting a 3D model, doing concerts, doing all this stuff. I was like, that's an expensive venture. Can you help them with it in that you can connect them maybe to some resources for it? Yeah. Can you help them financially? No. So if they're a small talent and they want to do music, what can you actually do for them? What are you offering them? Genuinely. Like, oh yeah, we'll email a studio for you. Why can't they do that themselves? Right? Like, I was just like, I don't know what we're thinking here. If we had all the money in the world, then I'd be like, hell yeah, because then we could throw funds at stuff and help launch somebody. It's marketing budget. That it can actually work out. But we didn't have that. So I was pointing this out. I was pointing this out the whole time. I was pointing this out before I knew who some of the people were that were potentially joining. I was like, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? And I was just trying to be very realistic. And I was saying things pretty nicely. I had spoken with people in like leadership in separate calls many times about business, about strategy. And I had been bringing up since before I joined, things that we could do to make this profitable. Because I'm no stranger to startups. I understand what you do is you start a company, you get investment, you run at a loss at first, and then over time, you inject that money in the right spots that you can become profitable. That's very normal. That is very normal for startups. A lot of them don't make it, but some do. And I felt like with the talent pool that we had every reason to be able to make it after like a 5-year period, let's say, right? We had every reason to be able to do that. But I was looking at what we were doing, and I wasn't privy to every bit of information, obviously. I was just privy to some little bits. even with the little bits I was privy to, I said, hey, you should do this, this, and that to become profitable. You're not doing this, this, and that. So I spent so much of my time while being in the group pushing these things forward. We should be doing this, we should be doing that. And I was really trying. Like I said, I was sitting there in meetings with people, like spending real time on this. Writing up notes, handing written up things to people, etc. Nothing. And I was like, brother, in my mind, this is not something I said to them. In my mind, I was like, they should just give up. This is what I thought. They should just give up trying to do some of these things that they're trying to do, because it's not going to work. Not that they should give up the whole thing, but some people should just step back, because clearly they're not suited to this. Maybe some people should just take a different role, because the role that they're in is not what they can do, right? I was just like, it ain't good. And if the talent are the only ones who are really seeing it, there were some staff that absolutely did. Like I said, like my own manager, he and I would sit there in meetings and we'd go over my stuff for the week, and then I'd also go over like company stuff, you know, and I'd be like, hey, realistically this thing should happen, that we should be doing this project here is not being done the way it should be, etc., etc. And I was just pushing stuff up the chain. And it was like once it went past that layer of like our managers, it like died. I don't know what happened to it after that. Like I know and I trust for a fact that my own manager was sitting there pushing these things up the chain, and then I myself was sometimes too, but it just like brick wall, donut wall, that's it, right? And I was just like, well, okay, all right, you know. I would see sometimes things be done where money would get spent in a way where I was like, why did we do that? It was mostly in the past. While I was there, for the most part, there wasn't really money being spent on random shit, because I don't think there was money to spend on random shit like that, like they did early on. But I looked back and I was like, what is some of this? Like, what were people thinking? Yeah, like the Subway ads. I remember looking at it at the time even and being like, is that the right usage for that? What if one of those was just a concert instead? Right? Like legitimately, you could have gotten an entire like concert for one member for the cost of like one of those Subway ads, you know? So I remember this is stuff I was thinking before even joining. I was just like, look, do I think sometimes spending money on stupid marketing ideas works out? Yes, I've seen it work really well, actually. But that one in particular, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, man. A lot of stuff that was odd. But again, you know, I worked on joining because I was approached directly and I was handed a version of a contract. I was not told, you got to sign this. I was told, this is what, you know, we hand people to start with. Please lawyer up and work with us on this, you know? That's what I was told, genuinely. I'm not going to pretend that 100% of everything was bad all the time and start punching at them and being an asshole like that. That was good. I had my own lawyer and I sat there and negotiated things, and I ended up with a version of the contract that was very different than what was put in front of me. And it was something that I genuinely was like, yeah, I'm chill with this. And, you know, my plan was to join and be there forever. My plan was to join and fix a lot of things if I could. And then with full knowledge that it might not work, because again, I'm no stranger to startups. I know how many of them don't work out. And my plan was, well, if it doesn't work out, I will at least have things done in a way where I'll be okay. You know? That's it. And that was, you know, here we are. So, am I gonna lose some things? Probably, yeah. But I still conducted things the whole time I was there carefully, because I knew from before I joined, again, when they were giving initial pitches to me and stuff, like, this looks likely to not be okay. I wish I knew how much of a bad situation some other members were kind of in. I did not realize how much money some of them were just kind of leaving with the company, stuff like that. I did not know these sums. I may have said a lot more beforehand had I known. I still did say a lot. I did a lot to try and make sure people could make informed decisions within my means, whatever I was able to say. And I was internally, you're allowed to say a lot, you know, realistically. So I was very outspoken, and I was very forthcoming with information. I held a lot of discussions between myself and some other talent and staff, and leadership especially, to try and make sure that concerns that I had, that they had, were spoken. Because if someone was sitting there thinking about something and going, oh, I don't know if this is right, or I don't know if this thing is done the way it should be, or blah, 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 I didn't want it to die with them just thinking about it in a corner. I was like, let's actually sit down and talk about a lot of things. So I set up a lot of calls and meetings and different things, and I sat down with people and took their concerns and itemized them into lists and all of this stuff, and made sure that the concerns were properly heard. You know, I did all of that. I did all of that. And I still feel like I didn't even do as much as I could have. I could have, if I decided to not stream for a while, I could have sat down and just done so much of that. But, you know, I did what I felt was way more than enough, considering I was not like getting paid as an employee to do any of this. And I made sure that a lot of concerns of the talent were itemized and said and spoken. And especially because some people are just nervous talking about this stuff. Some people are like really unsure about how to conduct themselves in these kinds of conversations, etc. So I made sure I helped there. And so I sat down, had discussions with people. I said, hey, here's what I need. By the time I was doing this, I'm going to probably make a video talking more in depth at some point, but by the time I was doing a lot of this, I was already preparing to leave. I hadn't really told people that's where I was, but I was already ready for that. I still wanted to help. I stayed longer than I wanted to. I stayed a lot longer than I wanted to sit there and try, you know, and do, again, a lot of the very recent information was not stuff that had come to light yet. So I was like, there's still that Hail Mary that we can do, where we can sit here and talk over a lot of this stuff and just see what happens. See if some people are willing to give up the reins on certain things, if some people are willing to adjust strategy, right? Like change what they think we should be doing and just adjust paths. Because again, with the people that we had, no reason why it shouldn't have been able to work, genuinely. So I was like, let's just sit down and talk about it, right? And we did. We talked. We talked a bunch, and I even gave my meeting notes to leadership. That I was sitting there note-taking the whole time while we were talking. I was doing all the work I shouldn't have to do. Handed it over, and I said, you've got a week to make a roadmap. And so you have to address all the things that we itemized out. Say what you're going to do or what you intend to do, or what the status is or whatever, and then some sort of timeline, so we have something tangible to go off of. Because I was like, look, I'm flirting with the idea of leaving. I was really wanting to leave, but I was flirting with the idea of leaving is what I told them. And this is what I would need to consider staying, is these pivots on these things, right? Really structured meeting. A week later, I'm given a roadmap that I thought was not sufficient at all for me to want to change my mind or even try at all. Some people were like, I'd like to give some of these things a shot. I said, this is to other talent, I said, fuck that. I already did way more than I signed up for. I set up a damn meeting. I've done more than enough. I was already ready to go. I really hope it works out. Yeah, I gotta hit the bricks kind of thing. But I stayed for quite a while to make sure that I helped them through that. And then I put in some notice ahead of time and was like, yeah, I'll be gone by this date. If you magically conjure solutions to these things, maybe, you know, but you'd have to like cast a damn spell. There you go. And they had some calls with me the whole time trying to have leadership be like, we have some meaningful context for you that might affect how you feel. And I would sit there through a meeting and they'd say some things and I'd be like, that didn't affect how I feel. Thanks. And I would just be like, all right. So I just stuck with it, and I ended up being the first one to like publicly choose to leave, you know. So that's, and here we are. I regret not being more outspoken internally earlier. I say that though, I actually really, I said that to one other member and they were like, no, you were really outspoken. And I'm like, yeah, but I should have been like an asshole about it. I was never an asshole about it. And now looking back, knowing what I know now, I should have been an asshole about it. At the time, I didn't really feel like I had a reason to be like that. I really didn't feel like it was worth being that way. But yeah, now that other things have come to light, I'm like, damn. I got some really vindicating messages from people being like, you were right. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, again, hindsight is 2020. At the time, it didn't feel right to push that way. And I didn't want to push anyone into a decision just because I felt so strongly. I was like, look, I've known this shit was cooked since the beginning. I was really hoping it wouldn't be. I put time in, I put effort in, I did more than enough, I'm going. I didn't need to drag everyone else into that, right? I needed them to see for themselves their own stuff not working out. And I wasn't going to be the bad guy and be like, you have to leave with me, haha, and like rub my hands together and look evil, you know? So I didn't do that. But yeah, looking back, I'm like, damn, I should have done that, but that it only would have made sense if I knew everything that I knew now, right? It really would have made sense only in that scenario. But yeah, I don't know. I did what I could. So there you go. I'm trying to be a bit vague. Depending on how things go, I will be able to speak less vaguely in the future. I'd love to pull up like the document I made at the time of all the stuff we wanted to ask for. I don't think there's some stuff on there I will never say just because I shouldn't. There's other stuff that I'm like, yeah, I think I just have to wait before going into specifics or anything like that, you know? Again, gotta be nice and careful. But yeah, I don't know. I really, all I can say is after all of this, I really tried. I tried since the beginning. Almost all of the projects that we did do were my idea or I was pushing them forward.
GEEGA really looked at VShojo and said, I can fix him.
Not really. I said, I'll try. That's how I felt. I'll try. I think with everything considered, there's just a lot I want to know. There's still a lot I want to know, and that's another reason why I'm being pretty careful about what I say still as well. There's a lot of the issues came about because no one knew anything realistically. And I know there's some people online being like, how does this person not know this? How did that person not know that? How did this person only find out now? Blah, blah, blah. It's really easy to obscure information when you don't tell anyone anything, right? And everyone is like, not sure. So, yeah, and there's a lot of inner workings. Again, like right now is not the time for me to say, but I completely understand how this happened. You know, I just want a lot of specific information that I don't know if I'll ever be able to get, but I would like that. Yeah, you said vague claim they made her sign an NDA not allowing her to tell the members anything. I don't know what hers looked like. Mine, there's a lot of stuff I still could say, which is why I was able to sit down with people and discuss this. There's still things I was careful about anyway. It's more so what I could tell you, right? All of that. You said, think of it this way, none of us knew GEEGA had cancer. Yeah, don't forget, I'm a person who had an entire bout of finding out, getting treated cancer, not telling you until a year later. So, you know, I like to keep things to myself sometimes. Sometimes I just do for my own sanity, you know? But yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I don't know. I feel bad for... There's some members who tried. There's some staff who tried. There's some people who were just kind of chilling, doing their own thing. You know, I don't think that's always bad. I think for me, I'd really like a lot of information that I just don't think I can get at this point. I don't know. Did Do really not know anything? I am inclined to believe there's a lot he did not know. Yeah. Yeah, I want to say that. I've seen some people kind of attack the fuck out of him. Again, I don't have any tangible proof or disproof of that kind of stuff. Knowing who knew what is always going to be something that is really hard to prove. But yeah, no, he and I both sat together at some point going, what the hell is this? What is this? Where did that come from? So yeah, I mean, he was C-level, but a lot of what he did for a long time was him being pretty stepped back and just doing marketing stuff. That's it. And when I say no one knew anything, I mean no one knew anything. Genuinely, internally, a lot of different departments, a lot of different staff didn't know what the others were doing. They didn't get nosy into each other's work. And they all stayed on their own little islands and did their thing. So the merch people did merch stuff. And that was it. Finance people did finance stuff. And that was it. And it was very, very compartmentalized. So, yeah, that's why I was saying the other day, I was like, I don't know if I want to see anyone sitting there and pointing too many fingers at too many people, because we genuinely don't know who knew what. And, yeah, internally, a lot of communication was pretty low. So yeah, when someone says they didn't know anything, maybe they actually didn't. There might also be some people that say that and they actually did. It's going to be really hard to prove either way, so I wouldn't, I wouldn't go too crazy over it. But yeah, I wouldn't go, unless you have confirmation that someone like actually knew something though, I wouldn't go crazy and attack them, And yeah, a lot of people are talking about like criminal stuff, and some people are like, oh, I've seen people say false things, something I want to make really clear. Some folks were like, NDAs don't matter when something criminal has happened, blah, blah, blah. Nothing is criminal, nothing is illegal or a crime until it is proven in court. There's a whole case that happens. There's an actual like conviction, or a judge smacks down the gavel and says, this is what's true now. This is what we've decided. At that point, then you can say, this crime was committed or this thing happened, and now I could talk about XYZ. Until that moment, just because you think something could be illegal, you can't go publicly spew whatever you want about it. Yeah, innocent until proven guilty. Okay? And there's a lot of information you guys don't have. So I will just say, I'm not saying you can't think about these things, you can't talk about them, but you cannot say, oh, an NDA is totally void and it's fine to talk about whatever, because no judge has smacked down their gavel and said, this is a thing that's happened, right? So I just want to make that really clear. I've seen some people already trying to harass folks. Oh, you actually can talk because something... Stop. Just stop, okay? Yeah, let the lawyers cook. Let things take their time, because they will need to take their time. And the more you act hasty and the more you try to do shit before things are legally set up, the more chance these things have to fall apart further. Genuinely. We might do ourselves huge disservices. We might be further screwed out of things by doing that. So I would not yeah, I wouldn't backseat someone else's legal stuff. Exactly. All right. Do the NDAs last if the company dissolves? I won't go into specifics of contracts and NDAs. However, typically, contracts and NDAs have sections called survivability clauses. And there are always things in a lot of contracts and NDAs under survivability, meaning should a company burn down, should a contract get torn up, terminated, whatever, there's still things that remain legally true after. Sometimes they have time limits, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're just little bits of things. Sometimes it's like, hey, this whole thing is still true, or whatever. So I don't know what other people have necessarily, because we don't all have all the same stuff as far as contracts and NDAs. So I don't want to speak for anyone else and say, for sure, right? For myself, at least, I'll probably be okay. But, I don't want to, like, confirm. Because, again, we don't all have, like, all standardized the same everything legally. So I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, this is true. Because I'm not sure. But yeah, I just want to make that clear, because a lot of people are assuming a lot of things because they read something or they saw like one lawyer on YouTube say a thing once and they were like, holy shit. They started parroting some stuff that they don't know about. Just breathe. Like there's a lot that still, you know, could be different than what you think. You know? So you said, but if they're dissolved, there's no way they'll prosecute you for breaking that. Obviously, you can maintain people's confidence, but would you say more after they file for Chapter 7? You don't know that, is all I'm going to say. Who knows? Who knows? Is that the case for everyone? I don't know. It may not be the case for everyone. I could write in a contract right now if I wanted. I could be like, if
Aren't
I
you
file
worried
for
that
this...
by the time the legality is clear, no one will care?
No, because I will care. And I don't care what anyone else thinks. It's about what I care about. So I don't give a shit. Will they probably care? Probably. But I care. So, you know, I'll be honest. I would have been fine with all of this just staying under wraps and us just handling it on the back end. If it were able to get handled, it's just one of those things where, like, after a certain point, you don't really have much else you can do but say something, right? Yeah, it's not drama. None of this is drama. Genuinely. Some people are making it drama, or they're talking about some tangential shit that is drama, and it's kind of awkward because it takes the focus off of, like, the real problems, but what can you do? What can you do? He said, but my YouTube views. Yeah. Yeah. How long did it take you from when you applied or approached
Indeed,
till debut?
Character is who you are in the dark.
Exactly. You said, for frame of reference to the timetable these members are saying, why do you care? I'll still answer your question. I just want to know why any of you care about that. It was around a year, I'd say, probably. Maybe a little, I think it was a little less than a year or so. I don't remember when I was first approached, genuinely, but I would say it was within the range of like 9 months to a year where I was approached until I actually debuted, something like that. I cannot tell you what month it actually I was first talked to about it. I can't remember. I don't know, but yeah, I was first approached by someone like that long prior. And honestly, I spent the first couple of months just like not really thinking about it at all. And then a bit into it, I started like saying, okay, can I take this contract and make it into something I'm cool with signing? And eventually I did. You know, I would say all in all, I don't regret signing what I signed. I would do it again. You know, like there were still things that I got to do that I was happy about, because a lot of my joining was about doing stuff with my friends, being in a group with my friends. It wasn't really about anything else. And I've spoken about that before. I think my regrets are more so about, like, again, not knowing how bad the situation was for some others. And then if I had known, I would have, you know, conducted myself differently, I think, for sure. I think I tried so much thinking that there was more chance. Like, I knew stuff was pretty cooked, but thinking that there could be more for at least us to salvage some things or change some stuff. Not that we could fix things, but I was like, we could change courses. And, you know, once that was kind of met with an unwillingness, that's when I went, okay, well, okay, well, you know, again, I had given up, a lot earlier, but I stuck around to really try to help others figure their shit out. Because I felt like the moment I left and I wasn't officially in anything, I just felt like that was a point where then they couldn't rely on me for things, and I wanted to be there. So I stayed a lot longer, just, you know, to be present, really. So because of that, I don't regret joining, because if I had not joined, I'm not sure that this stuff would have come to light early enough for some people to figure some things out. So I'm glad I could have helped, at least somewhat. So I'm, you know, no regrets, as they say. Have they legally declared bankruptcy yet? No. Nothing has changed as far as their status, as far as I know. That's just how it is. Yeah. So would you collab with the girls who signed but never got to debut? Feels bad. Look, like I said, one of them is a close friend of mine. You bet your ass I'm gonna promote her. I'm gonna drag her onto stream. I'm gonna be like, this is my friend, you know, and like, yeah, you better support her. I'm not gonna go to every single person and do the same thing. I'm not gonna like fucking ignore them though. You know, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just saying one in particular is a really close friend of mine who I've always believed in and I've always loved a lot, and I'm going to 100% promote that person. So there you go. There you go. I will say, support people if you want to support them if you watch them and you like them. Please don't do the thing where you become a tourist and you show up just to like say something nice and then you fuck off and you leave and whatever, you know. Like, if you want to genuinely support them, then actually do that, okay? So yeah. So I know Henya's scared I worry about her. Don't worry about anyone. Just support them. That's the other thing, is I said this the other day. Everyone's an adult. Don't baby anybody. Everyone's lawyered up. Everyone has each other to support each other. You know? They can all reach out to me for anything. You know, there's nothing you can do other than support. But if you sit there and you are feeling worry, I want to remind you, you're a person sitting at a desk looking at a device, worrying about someone on the other side of the device. Is there anyone in your life you should worry about right now? Make sure you go for a walk. Make sure you've eaten. Have you called your mom recently? You know, like stuff like that. Okay? I'm appreciative. I'm appreciative of people who are worrying about things. But I don't want people to be so emotionally like over this that they like are just fucking, you know, they care about this more than their own selves. You know what I mean? I just want to remind. This is always a good time to remind, okay? All right. Yeah, take a cold shower, whatever, etc., etc. And if you know, if everything in your life is together to whatever extent, and then you also want to worry a little bit, okay. You know, all right. But don't let like yourself get so anxious that this is superseding, you know, important shit in your life. I've seen some people like crashing out to an extent where they're like I can't stop shaking, and I'm like, what? Go for a walk, please go for a walk. You know, like you're ruminating and spiraling on something that you shouldn't be spiraling on. Be in a good headspace, come back, be supportive, chill out, hang out with the community, you know? Like, go eat some fat fucking food, etc. Okay? Go eat the fattest sandwich of your life and chill out, you know? Yeah, stay grounded. Again, the worry is fine, but yeah, there's a point where you do overdo it sometimes. So, be chill, man. Be chill. But I love worrying myself over things I have no connection to. I know, and I think the internet like lends itself to that, right? And like everyone's freaking out and everyone's making their hit tweets and whatever, and so I get it. It's not like I don't get it at all. Like, I do get it. I'm just reminding. I'm trying to be the reminder, you know? I'm trying to be the splash of cold water on your face for a second so you can chill the fuck out, you know? Because also what people need right now in their own chats is to be able to chill themselves. There's some people who want to stream, but they feel like throwing up. Because this actually affects them. This is their own real life problem, you know? And they feel like throwing up. What would help them is a chat being like, what's up? How's it going? Hope you're well. Not people being like, are you okay? Are you okay? You know? Like, your energy is gonna freak them out, is what I'm saying, all right? So don't freak them out. Just, you know, even if they're upset, you don't have to match that energy and throw upset energy right back at them, you know? Not to, you don't want to downplay how they're feeling, obviously, but like, you can just be chill. And likely that will make them feel a lot better, you know? So, nightmare. Yeah, that's kind of what people are, they don't realize they're doing sometimes when they're getting worried and, you know, they're getting a bit worked up. The way they type things might change because they are worked up. It's the streamer equivalent of someone in your chat just going nightmare at you while you're like trying to describe your nightmare, you know? So like, you know, breathe. But yeah, everyone will be as okay as they can. Will things maybe go really poorly in some ways? Probably. But as far as anything moving forward, as far as anything, you know, going beyond this point, I'm trying my best to help everyone out. If anyone reaches out and is like needs any little thing, I'm there for it. And I have my own team. I have my own support system that is also very willing to help people. They'll be fine, you know. As far as like the future stuff, yeah, some stuff in the past is that we're kind of going back over and trying to figure out might just not work out at all, but future stuff should be okay, is what I'm saying, right? So what we're worried about is hashing out old shit, getting that figured out, taken care of, you know? For myself, what I will say is, yeah, I'm still owed something. Yeah, I still don't have my situation figured out. You would think that by the time of leaving, we would have already had some things hashed out and figured out, like I requested. But no, they're not figured out, even though I've done everything I can to get that shit figured out. I would love if it could just get figured out. I would love to have already have washed my hands of it. You know, it is what it is. What can you do? I've already done everything. And I'm not ignoring the chat, by the way. I did see that Byte is matching 3K of donations to the Tiltify campaign. So the next 3K made, he's matching, which is crazy. Thank you so much, Byte, for that. Thank you. You've already supported enough. He's already one of the biggest donors on there with 5K, so that's nuts.
You should start your own VTuber agency with hookers and blackjack. Wait, then you could only stream on Kick. Never mind that last part.
Oh, man. Yeah, we're gonna make an agency with blackjack and hookers. Oh, man. You said it won't be figured out. They're gonna file Chapter 7 and dissolve. Oh, yeah? Are you my lawyer? Are you in the group chats? Are you blah, blah, blah? Even if that happens, there are some things that can still get figured out. So, you know, shut up, kindly. With grace and with kindness, shut up. Do you have suggestions for other VTubers in the space to protect themselves from something like this or notice red flags in agencies or groups? Yeah, I mean, I already knew from the beginning that a lot of stuff was not set up to succeed. And again, my goal was to go in and try and see if they could pivot because I was like, this could work. I would say, obviously the lawyer up thing is always good. Get a lawyer and listen to them. If they have a bad feeling about something, listen to them. My lawyer went into it realistically with me, and I told him, he was like, how do you feel about how things are run? And I said, I think a lot should change. And he's like, okay, so you're aware. And I was like, yes. And he was like, all right, cool. You know, like you just have these kinds of conversations with these people. And, you know, I went in seeing if I could change some stuff. My contract was, again, something I worked on a lot and adjusted a lot to make sure that it was negotiated into a spot that I was okay with signing, knowing the situation, you know? So don't go into anything where you don't feel like you understand, right? That's what I would say. I felt like I did understand, and I feel like this whole time I've understood. There's specific bits of information I didn't have that I didn't really expect to have anyway. Like, I didn't expect to have a full docket of a ledger of all money in and out, you know, like that. Of course I wouldn't have that. A talent, not a finance employee, you know? Like, of course not. But, you know, I made sure my shit was taken care of as best as possible. And my contract was written a certain way I was comfortable with. It is what it is. You know, I was aware that things were done in a way where, yeah, if they go bankrupt, then if they owe me something, I'm probably not going to get it. That's something I was aware of. Still signed knowing that. I did, you know, because there are other things that were in there that were good for me. So I said, okay, you know, I'll roll the dice, you know, like I'll go with that. I'll go with that. Things were at a point where I was chill with it. So, you know, I'm not going to pretend that I saw everything and went like, oh, it's so bad and I won't sign. No, like I got it to a point where I was chill with signing. And that's why I was there, you know. Question, are you now aware of all the not yet debuted members? No. No, I'm aware of a total number of people that they had said they were going to have join. I do not know if that total number of people were all signed. I suspect that by the time they told us that number of people, that they were signed based off of some other things some people are saying. But I don't actually know. I know some people have spoken publicly. There are only 3 names that I know for sure were going to join. There are only 3 names that were provided to me that these people were signed on and were going to join. Anyone else outside of those names, I genuinely had no clue. They were never said to me. They were never said. So some of the people who've spoken up, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know. And some of them who have spoken, I did know. I did know. So there's that. There's some people that I've like maybe heard rumored or something, but like I don't believe it until I see it, you know? That's just how I am. But yeah. That's just how it is. That's how it is. But we'll see. I will say, let me ask my friend really quick a question before I say. I'll ask a question first. I don't know if they're around right now. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah. If the company disappears, are you able to salvage the banana outfit? I don't know. No, likely no, because it was an unreleased project. It was an unreleased project. You've seen quite a few now claim they were in. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like I don't even know, like I feel like 50 people could say that and I wouldn't know, other than the 3 names I was given. I wouldn't know if any of them actually were, because that's how little was communicated. I genuinely, like, want you to understand that I had no clue. I had no clue, dog. So, and that's something that I was asking for a long time to know. For a long time, I was just like, can I know, though? And I framed it positively. I was like, I would like to reach out to help them with things. There you go, man.
Hey GEEGA, you see where Mouse's fundraiser is at?
Yeah.
Almost 1 million.
It's hard for me not to see because everyone keeps spamming in chat, and I hope you do keep spamming it because I want it to get over 1 million. I want it to get there. Thank you for the bits. I think if you see it in the chat, I probably also see it. It's safe to assume that I have eyeballs. For sure. And yeah, I do want you to keep spamming because I want... It's really close, actually. Yeah, like 30K off now. What are we at? Well, I gotta refresh. Yeah, 979. No, we're 20K away. I feel like every minute I like check it and I'm like, oh, we're 30 off, and then oh, we're 20 off. Crazy. Crazy. No, I'm really glad. I'm really glad. Pumpkin spoke yesterday on how she was flat out not allowed to talk about her audition. Yeah, that's fine. That's not dramatic. I think it depends on what round of auditions and who they spoke to, what they made people sign or whatever. But I do know that a lot of folks agreed, checkbox, agree to a small thing that said like, hey, when you make it past a certain point, you're not allowed to speak about the details of it past a certain point. That's really standard. That's not a bad thing. I'm not surprised by that. And I wouldn't bring it up like, oh, did you know? Ooh. Every corpo does that. All of them do this where when you audition the first time, you're allowed to say you put in an audition. There's nothing on that form usually that says you can't say that you sent one in. Sometimes they actually do, but usually not. And then all of them, when you make it to further rounds, there's a point where you either sign an NDA or you agree to like a small little clause and check something off saying, by submitting this other thing, I am agreeing that I'm not going to talk about this other thing or anything beyond it. There you go. That's really normal, actually. So, yeah, that's a business thing. That's not like evil. You know? But it is nice for people to be able to talk about some stuff, I guess. I don't know. I'm just reading questions. I'm reading questions. So I know you joined after they left. Were there ever talks about why those other three before you left the company? I mean, I didn't pry. Obviously, I know some of them. I've spoken to some of them. I didn't. No one within the company, talent or staff, no one went to me and was like, oh, did you know what they did? No one was like, here's why they actually left. No one did anything like that. At all. So I just want to say that from my perspective, from my personal experience, I never had anyone come in and be like, oh my God. I felt like by the time I joined, that was old news. Okay. That was old news. And it didn't pertain to me. I didn't pry. No one went after me to like make sure I knew a thing or whatever. It was just like whatever it was. And again, I was chill with some of them, so I had spoken to them in that time. Some I've spoken to recently. No issues there, you know. No one was like, "Oh, I see you know this person. Don't talk to that." Like no one did anything like that, you know. Did you know about Nathal not being able to talk to talents? No, because they're good about things like that, and they don't go telling people stuff. I think what's nice about this situation is when I hear people reveal their truths. It's interesting to see who I already knew some things about because they can't keep their mouths shut, and then who I didn't know some things about because they can keep their mouths shut. I think this has all been a really cool exercise for me in seeing who can actually follow NDAs and who can't. You know? So, yeah, that's been cool. That's been cool. Some people are actively, like, breaking theirs by talking about certain things, and in some cases, I think it's, like, probably not going to be an issue for them. For others, I'm like, I don't know if you should do that. But what do I know? You know, what do I know? I don't know, man. Whatever. Yeah, I simply observe. Exactly. I don't know. What can you do? I just hope, I hope anyone who has any, like, actual unresolved things talks where they can. Some stuff I think is, like, it's just little bits of drama. It's not really, like, relevant to the situation. There are other things that absolutely are important. I know a lot of us have put out tweets. I'll probably put out the same, urging if there were any vendors, artists, anything that haven't been paid, if they did any work for the company or for us, thinking it's for us and haven't been paid, we'd like to know.
My only gripe with all this situation happening is that everyone's volatile reactions.
That's
they
normal
just
at this
say
point.
things and attack anyone without knowing everything. I feel like this is becoming a problem.
It's always been a problem on the internet. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying, like, I'm very used to that. That's very normal. And like I said, everyone's getting their hit tweets. This is a time, okay? You're in the mines and you see a vein of gold ore, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna hit it right now, you know, like everyone sees it. How do you not go for it? How do you not start just boom farming that shit? You know, there are gonna be people who were like tangentially related. They had like one scrap of something get said to them once, and it's not even an ongoing problem, and they're gonna talk about it for the next 3 streams. Yeah, people are content creators. That's what's gonna happen. Okay, that's normal. It is what it is. If all I say is just make sure you also listen to the people who are actually talking about something ongoing or have something going on that needs figuring out. That's important. You know. You know. Claro, you said my experience working with VShojo was positive. No hit tweet for me. Yeah, I will say for a lot of my stuff, I'm gonna check into it and double check with artists and be like, just making sure, did you get paid, you know, stuff like that. My stuff, as far as I know, was paid for. For example, there wasn't a lot that I expensed out from VShojo or had them pay for me, but like my models, for example, art and rigging, I had money taken in from like sponsorships or merch funds, and instead of having them pay every bit to me, I asked for some expenses to get paid, and those did. And my big ones were models, like rigging bills for Iron Vertex, stuff like that, you know. And those did get paid because Iron Vertex won't start work until the invoice is paid, so I know it was done, you know. And because Soy from Iron Vertex is really good at being really communicative, and I'm also the type of person to be really, really, really on their ass about that. So as far as I know, my shit was paid for. I'm still gonna go double check some artists. I have a list of everyone who did every asset for me and everything, and I'll go just make sure that that's done. But like I said, when I left, I was always really involved in everything that was done for me. I was in a lot of chats directly with a lot of artists, etc. My own manager was always an extension of me, keeping on people's asses, because I would ask every week, how's this going? How's that going? So as far as I know, stuff for me was paid out. Like an asset from an artist. They did this thing, they did that thing. That was paid out. As far as I know. I'm still gonna check. But yeah. So that should be okay. If you are a person who did anything for me and you didn't get paid, do let me know. Absolutely. I'm not saying that that's impossible, but to my knowledge right now, everything was paid, so we'll see. One of you asked, you said,
all I care about is what you girls and Kuro have to say. Everything else is fake news.
I mean, no, there might be some other people who actually had real situations, but that's the most important because we're the ones with like ongoing shit. Anyone who's owed money, right? I'll widen the umbrella and I'll say anyone who's owed money right now is actually dealing with shit. Moog said Iron Vertex knows how to actually do business as artists. Fun fact, I actually went, when Iron Vertex was like becoming a bigger company, they contacted me and I sat with Brian and Soy and helped them get their business together because they were like, we're just artists and we're not sure how to do this. And I was showing them a lot of like project management software and showing how I would personally set up things for their own operations. I was going through like how Airtable works, and I was like, here's how you can match these records to these other ones and why it's better for your purposes than Excel and shit. And I helped them set it up. So, you know, I was trying to do that with everything I was in, if I could. But yeah, I love IV. They've been really good to me. They've been really, really good to me. Wonderful to work with. And yeah, I sure as hell made sure they got paid. You didn't teach them VBA? Fuck no. I wouldn't torture them with that. Yeah. Yeah. But that being said, very upsetting to hear that some people got paid and others did not. And I'm like, what? Why? Where does that come from? Where does that decision come from? Or is it just like the ones who are louder, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, you know? Like, it's probably something like that because I'm the type to be like, did you pay them yet? Did you pay them? Did this happen? You know, really annoying about it. I wonder if you're even slightly lenient on something, then does it just not happen? Like, why? It shouldn't be our jobs to do that, right? I don't know. Wonder if You Need a Budget would sponsor GEEGA. I would love to do a You Need a Budget seminar. I would. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know, like, at the end of the day, what made someone get paid a thing or not paid a thing. What I can say is any money they were holding for me, I pushed them to make sure that some expenses were paid out of that, etc. So some of the money I would have been owed, some was definitely already taken care of. It's no different than if it was paid out to me and then I paid those artists, which is comforting. There's still stuff left that I just can't, I don't know. I probably won't get. I probably just won't get it. I don't know. We'll see. I hope so. I hope so. I'm not the largest creator. I don't make buku bucks. I have a lot of overhead and stuff. So, you know, there's that. In the US, streamers get taxed twice, essentially, because we pay self-employment tax on top of income tax, etc. So it's, you know, I'm not going to say I'm starving out here or anything like that, but I don't have, like, crazy fuck you money. So I can't look at stuff I'm owed and be like, it's not a big deal, you know, like it is for me. I've talked about my medical situation and how insurance did not cover a lot of stuff. I literally went through an entire arc with having cancer and getting surgeries and treatment related to it and having to pay for a lot of it, etc., etc. Kind of been through it with all that. So, you know, does suck to maybe not get some money that would help those situations. That's all I'll say. No, I don't live in a $100 million mega mansion, unfortunately. Yeah. So all you can do is hope. Oh, my friend answered me back. Okay. I didn't want to say which potential talent, which person who was signed and like was going to be in was my close friend until they confirmed that that's chill. But she said it's fine. It's Phoebe. It's Phoebe. Phoebe's been a good friend of mine for a really long time. I love her a lot. And she was supposed to join, can confirm, all of that. She was supposed to join. I'm pretty sure some of you knew because I've already interacted with her, but whatever. Just wanted to check her comfort, you know. Yeah, she's a good friend. And when I learned of her info, I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, she was going to be part of the more idol style thing. And she's been at it. She's been an idol, legitimately, like doing work, making original music, all of that for a long fucking time. She's been at it for forever. And when I heard that she was one of the people that was going to join, I was ecstatic because I was like, she's perfect for this. Yeah, you can spell it like that, Oshi. Yeah. She is so good. She's so professional. That was the big thing that I was saying to staff. I was like, she is so professional and on top of her shit. A lot of people that are in this community, like, they mean well, but they don't really know a lot about this stuff. They don't know how to take care of themselves. She is so good with all the back end stuff. She's released all of her own music, etc. Some of you might have already thought it's her because sometimes on my stream playlist, some of her songs are on there, and people have asked like, "Oh, who is this?" And I'm like, "It's Phoebe." But yeah, no, she was gonna be doing the whole idol thing. Yeah, she was gonna be in the same wave as Mint. Yep. She was gonna be part of a group together with her. Thank you, Stray, for the 5 gifted. And I was like, dude, this is gonna be so good. This is gonna be so good because again, she's been at it for so long, and a lot of people that have tried to do the idol thing, but more so in the Western sphere or the English speaking sphere, have not made it. It's just a really, really rough industry with all that. And she's one of the people who genuinely has like the longest resume relating to anything with trying to be an idol. And she went from just trying to be an idol, doing like stuff at conventions and all this stuff, to becoming a VTuber. And she's a 2.5D idol, which is like, yes, she has her persona Phoebe, but she's also the person Phoebe, and she will go in person to events and perform and all of that. And so, you know, I was like, hey, I'd really love to have her in a group with me. That's great. I love her. Yeah, so I am very upset for her, personally. I just want to say that. That's my good friend. And I'm like, fuck, man. Fuck. What else can you say? Yeah. And when I don't think anyone else who's going to be in that wave has publicly said that they were going to join or anything. But knowing what the group was going to be, I was really excited for it. You guys know I love idol shit. I know I don't get up there and sing like idol songs all the time. I've been a really long time idol fan. and I have like old platinum era Morning Musume albums and shit on my shelf right now. Like that's the kind of stuff that I was always really into for a long time. So for me personally, I was really, really excited to have like, you know, an idol group style thing. But yeah, you could have been the one that says chocolate mint. I had a lot of plans of basically like, I was gonna do a lot of funny shit. That's all I'll say. I was gonna do a lot of funny shit. And I still will, you know, depending on what they do, I still will do this funny shit. I just will do it independently. That's all. You know? But yeah, we'll see what they do. But yeah. There you go. Sing along the Hamtaro theme song. Yeah, I that's one of those things that was very like, if you know, you know, and now more people are aware of that that community.
Cheer 100, cheer 100, cheer 100, cheer 100. I think VTubers could really benefit from having a union and or co-ops. Seeing y'all get taken advantage of like this makes me sad.
I know a lot of people in the streaming space, in the creator industry, that
Schizo.
thanks, Blazing, that do co-ops, all those things. I would just like to say, you don't know. You don't know the half of it. I don't think everyone needs to make a union. I don't think everyone needs to make their own little co-op, etc. They can go really, really poorly. Not saying don't. Not saying you can't. They're very hit or miss. Okay? I know a lot of people that have been in a lot of different companies, that have been in a lot of different co-ops, things that are talent owned, and they can still go really bad. Okay? So, everyone going, you guys need to make your own. Shh. Okay, shh. That's what I'll say. Shh. Shh. Calm down. I think everyone should be independent, spend some time figuring out what they want to do. I do have ideas of how I can help people. Absolutely. I do have ideas 100% of how I can help people on the back end. But I'm not like picking up a picket sign and going like, oh my God, I want to make a union, you know. Off-Brand was a co-op and yeah, it didn't end well either. And they had all good intent. It's just that, let's be real, there's not a lot of money in this industry. Except for at the very top, for the top couple of creators. Even then, it's not as much as people think sometimes. We have a lot of expenses, a lot of money that goes out to paying our teams. Because every one creator that you see who is pretty well known, who has channels running, whatever, a lot of them have a lot of people behind them that also live off of the money that goes into that person. It doesn't go to that person, it goes to them and their team. The money gets split out a lot. There are a lot of pieces of the pie that get taken for good reason, because those people do work. There's not much left. So when you're like, let's also start this venture, let's also make this company and have these more staff to pay for this other thing, blah, blah, blah. You're just splitting out more and more and more and more, and less and less gets to people that actually do the work. And it's tough. It's tough. There's some times where it can work. And like I said, it's different when you're like one of the absolute top people. But yeah. Yeah, and yeah, there are scaling factors, etc., etc. But I think it all starts with the people running things need to have good intent. The people running things, if they're not creators themselves, need to understand that they're not going to be able to get paid a ton. All right? They're just not. You know, you're going to have to be sitting there doing work for pennies sometimes and being like, oh, I love it here. You know, that's just how it's going to be. That's how it's going to be. It's tough. Even if myself and 10 people wanted to get together and hire one manager between us, we'd still feel like we were kind of paying that person a lot for the amount of service they'd just give to us individually, the amount of hours we'd get. It can be tough. It can be tough, okay? So, yeah. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. People are getting real hasty and talking about a lot of things that are a lot more expensive than they realize. You know? I think realistically, the reason why a lot of people will sign to a company, is it because they need that management? Is it because they need all these things? It's really just for the agency side of it, less than the talent management. It's the idea that I can give one source my information, then they can sign for me. I don't need to give my information out to all these sources. It's the idea that, you know, one person can be managing my email for me a little bit, take in stuff, look at what's good, what I need to actually be concerned with, and filter it to me. It's like those two tasks are really the most important, and that's why people sign for a lot of companies, is that more than anything. You know, and again, it's a lot of it with VTubers is about anonymity, identity, not having to sign your name onto a lot of things, etc., etc. So, you know, outside of that, everything else is very doable as an independent. You don't really need to make a company for that stuff. Like, you really don't. You really, really don't. So, yeah. Do you think that some sort of creator community-led financial or contractual literacy initiative would be good for the industry? Seems to be a recurring issue. Who's going to pay for that? Is the question, right? That's always what happens. Someone would have to do it for free. And typically the people who are willing to do that stuff for free are not the ones who are the best at it. They're like, I just want to help and I have free time. Why do you have free time? You know. The people who are like really good at their stuff, they're booked and busy. So, yeah, that's why stuff like that doesn't really exist. I will say, I have already gone into the Twitch Creator Club and run a seminar. Just to talk about VTubing, to let people in that creator club ask me questions, to help them out with whatever they've got. Talking about the experience of indie versus corpo and what I think about the differences between the two and what's actually needed, etc. I've already done that, and I've talked to Nyla about maybe doing another one at some point. I've told him, like, yeah, I'll do that again. But that's me doing that for free, you know? So, like, things like that often don't exist because some people just don't want to do shit for free. That's all. You know? But yeah, but feel free to keep asking questions and I'll answer what I can, and I will sit here and answer those things for free. What's a creator club? Kind of the thing people are asking for a little bit. Twitch did a thing. It's mostly Nyla's initiative, and that's why we love him. He wanted to make it so that people who have something in common, creators have something in common, can be under an umbrella. So there's a Discord, and let's say you're a VTuber. You are a VTuber. You can go and sign up for the VTuber Creator Club. And if you get in, you're now in a Discord with a whole bunch of channels relating to that. So it's just like a larger community thing. And then some of them do courses. There's some who are like representatives of the Creator Club and who are at that community's top, just kind of like organizing thoughts and events. So people like... I think Miss Lala is one of them, for example, right? She's one of the people that's up there in the Creator Club doing a lot of work. So they have people from the community doing it. And yeah, so I saw that, I joined it, and I was like, hey, I don't really see representation of like people who are corpo in here. You know, at the time I was in VShojo, so I said, can I just do a seminar, I guess, like if anyone wants to come in and ask questions? Because I saw a lot of people asking questions about that kind of stuff, but there was no one there to answer it, you know? So that's the sort of thing that creator clubs can do, but it's all by choice. It's all by community choosing to do that. But yeah. Less than 10K? Are we really that close? Let me see. Ooh. Ooh, and there's a donation match right now. Holy. Yeah, it's at 992. 993. Just kidding. As I said that, it went up. Oh my god. Yeah, Jazz is mentioning it. We're gonna get to 1 million, man. It's gonna be... That's insane. That's absolutely fucking insane. Holy. Holy. Here's another question. You said, did you watch Case on stream talking to the JP CEO? What's your opinion? And what was the problem that caused it all? Look, I can't go super in depth into everything. I did see some of it. I think he's telling the truth when he says that if you just look at what was going in and out for JP on paper, that they were doing pretty well. Because I've spoken to other JP staff who have also said that. They've also been like, we're doing well on paper. The thing is, I think when they turned around and they said, okay, our talents want to get paid out, can we access that now? I think that was where things came to light. You know? So, I don't know too much fact that I can confirm a bunch of little things, but I think what he said there is what he said, right? That is just where it is. I do feel like a lot of the staff over there did really care. And I do know some of the Nova talents have said, I can't remember which exact ones. I saw some of them tweeting and saying, you know, that some of the staff from over there want to still help them as much as they can. So, you know, I really do think they're good intentioned people over there. But, yeah, that's they're doing what they can, and it's good. It's a good thing. I just think people seem to think a lot of that stuff was a lot more separate than it actually was. But it's seeming like it probably wasn't, I guess. I've said before, people have asked about the structure, and I've said genuinely, I always kind of thought things were completely separate, but I didn't actually know. None of that was ever confirmed to me. I still am not 100% sure how that all worked. So, you know, now it's looking like, yeah, it seems like things were intertwined. So even if they did their jobs right, stuff in and out all looks good on paper, if they didn't actually have physical control of it, then, right, what could you do? That just sucks. Right? That just sucks. But I love what Kason did, though, of just being like, let's talk. There's some people I'd love to talk to or get them to talk. But, I don't know. I don't know. There's some people who I just have not spoken to in months that I'm like, hey, I really wish I could get to talk to some of them, but what can you do? There's some people that, straight up, some of us have asked, you know, hey, can we see this thing? Can we have an update on this or whatever? Nice messages. And then they've just kind of like put a different staff member in front of us instead of saying anything. So that's, you know, frustrating. That's frustrating. And again, that's why a lot of my stuff is just kind of sitting there. And I'm like, well, I hope it gets done soon. Whatever the outcome is, I just want it to be done, right? We'll see. We'll see. Also, yeah, I know. Ooh, YouTube lawyer made a video. Ooh, you know. I'm just going to say right now, it's speculation. And I think he's presenting it as that. I'm pretty sure he's saying, look, this is my guess. When someone says, I'm guessing that, I think that, they're guessing and they're thinking, you know? A lot of people are like, going, well, this person said they're a lawyer, so everything, their word is law. Like, no. I didn't go and I didn't listen to the whole video or anything like that yet. I didn't look. I genuinely didn't look. I will say, if someone is a YouTube creator, instead of just doing their thing that is their job and making their like $400,000 a year that you think they would make as a lawyer, why do they care so much about their channel, dude? I don't know. I'm not saying that this person 100% doesn't know anything ever. I don't know what he knows. I'm not in his brain. But yeah, I just the other thing that's crazy is anyone, and I've seen multiple people claim this, multiple people have said that they've seen contracts, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Maybe they saw something. Maybe they saw a draft. Maybe they saw one that was someone's. I don't know. I have no fucking clue. But I won't believe any of it. All right, there we go. We are officially at 1,001,000 and something dollars. It keeps moving. I was going to shoutcast it, but it keeps moving up still. We're at 1 million. Let's go. 1 schmillion officially made for the Immune Deficiency Foundation. I'm trying to not say the acronym IDF out loud so much because people keep thinking we're talking about the other one, and I'm like, no, it's this one, and I've given up. What if I just called the Immune DF? Because it's short. For the immune DF. ID Foundation. Good fucking job, though, guys. Good fucking job. Again, if you want to keep giving, you can. Let it go as far as you want it to go. But we've already hit 1 million, guys. That's insane. Absolutely insane. And we're so thankful. And I will say, at a time like this, that just fucking sucks. That sucks.
I don't get emotional often,
yeah.
But sometimes this community brings a gay little tear to my eyes. Feels strong, man.
That's right. That's right. At a time that sucks, you know, this is something that helps people feel a lot better. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you all. And, you know, it won't undo every little thing, but it's the best we can do moving forward, right? Yeah, made it suck less, for sure. For sure. But keep the energy on that sort of thing. If you want information and we can share some stuff, we will, whatever. But if you're feeling a little stressed, just remember, go back to that link and look at how well this is doing. And remember that there's good coming out of this, for sure. Right? Right?
It's incredible to see a small indie creator like Iron Mouse rally a community to earn 100x more than she, though possible GEEGA peer.
Yeah, new upcoming indie VTuber, Iron Mouse. You know, there's a lot of new hit indie VTubers on the market. Up and coming, trying to do their thing. I hope you support them. Those little guys, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Oh, man. Oh, man. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I felt super important to mention. I don't know. If it's something someone already said, I could talk about it for sure, but I don't know. At some point, I'll probably make a follow-up video because I have a video that I put on my YouTube channel talking about leaving when I left, which was weeks ago. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, like 4 weeks ago. And some people started going to that video and saying things, and I'm like, hold on. Context. This was, yeah, basically a month ago, and well before a lot of this information came to light, you know? So that's something I feel like maybe it's time to like rehash, because there's a lot that's changed. A lot of this was information I didn't know at the time. A lot of things I did know but couldn't say. There's also additional stuff. So at some point I want to go through and do another one, you know, like a round 2, because I feel like it's going to be necessary. I don't want that to be the only thing left on my channel, like that's all I had to say, because that was not all I had to say, you know. But I'll be careful about it for sure. I don't know, man. It'd be nice if over time I could be way less careful. But like I said, unless things are closed out, unless something is officially filed, unless, you know, someone slaps down a gavel and makes a decision legally on certain things, nothing could really be moved on yet. So I want people to like wait a little bit, which I know sucks. Everyone's clamoring for information, but I want people to be chill. I want them to be chill. But yeah, if there are any questions you have, you can still ask, and if I can't answer it, I will. If I can't, I'll just be like, yo, I can't yet. Right? Can you please consider going into politics? I'd rather die. I'd rather die. I think it's nice if you listen to me talk and you're like, she sounds like she knows what she's talking about. But at the same time, I'm not a person who's posted my resume on the internet for you to see. It's cool that you think that. Do I think I know I'm talking about a lot of the time? Yeah. There are also times I'm just talking and someone will be like, God, you're so knowledgeable on this thing. And I'm like, nope, hold on. I read about it and I'm talking about what I read about. Okay, let's keep it shrimple. Like, I'm just chilling and talking on stream. You know, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I sound confident. The way I talk maybe sounds like that or something, but I don't want people to put me on a pedestal and be like, she's the only person who knows anything ever and everyone else should die, you know? Because like, go into politics. Absolutely not. I'd rather cut my head off. I'm good. I'm good. I can read though, which I know is a big deal. So I will say that confidently. I can read, which is huge. Let's be real, that's huge. Enormous, man, enormous. What are the attractive traits or signs of successful business practices you want to see in a VTuber corporation? It's so situation to situation, case by case, that it's hard to say their specific signs. Because the thing is, you can't be like, oh, VTuber corporation, and act like that's a thing. That's not a thing. Like, they're all different. The way they do everything, their strategy, a lot of nuance is different between all of them, and there's no template for like a VTuber corporation. People constantly would say stuff about VShojo that wasn't true because they would just see another corporation do it and be like, oh yeah, that's what the VTuber corpos do. And I'd be like, that's not it. People still to this day are always confused whether or not we own our IPs, because other corpos create and own an IP and then hire someone in to be the voice of it. But VShojo doesn't do that. They take you and your existing IP, and then they're like, we'll sign you as a talent to our agency. It's a totally different structure. But people to this day would still be like, I hope they can own their IP when they leave. And I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? So it's tough. It's tough to like compare, you know, or be like, this is a good sign, this is a bad sign, because they're all different, you know? Yeah, you asked, Kuro talked about how the talent were sort of kept in the dark about one another not getting paid. After you left, did you find out from anyone it was happening? Yeah, so like I said, when I said, hey, I've been trying for a long while to talk about things, I've been mentioning stuff for a long while. One of the things I had been mentioning for a long while was like, hey, make sure you get paid out on this basis or whatever, because this is what's supposed to happen, realistically. Hey, make sure you get this thing because they're supposed to tell you this thing on this regular basis that's supposed to happen, etc., etc. I'd been saying that for a long while. I informed people. I did not shake people down and go, how many dollars are in your balance right now, or anything like that. I'm not sure that everyone even knew at all times. You know, etc. So, yeah. That is what I can say. There are... I don't think anyone was told you can't talk about this or anything like that. I think it was more people assumed, or they didn't think it was an issue because they thought the money was just sitting there waiting. And a lot of people genuinely, this is something that I did, a lot of people genuinely wanted to let them hold on to some to be able to pay expenses at times. So knowing that that is a thing that we did, some of us regularly do. And for me, like I said, my artists were getting paid with money that I was holding through them, through VShojo. Why would I worry when that's happening? Right? Obviously, I still was a lot more diligent on checking into a lot of things, asking for receipts for a lot of things, etc. But, I could see how a lot of people wouldn't really be so concerned, right? Especially because if an artist doesn't get paid and they're having an issue, they don't usually DM the VTuber. They would talk to like a manager, or they talk to someone they know in the company, a staff member, and a lot of stuff probably just got lost. Genuinely. I think a lot of this was just on communication more than anything, lack of visibility. So, you know, but again, I wouldn't know for sure on every little scenario unless I went and investigated or something, right? And how would I from my perspective on other people's stuff? So, yeah. Yep. said some of the other former members said they were not allowed to talk about it due to some contracts when they left. Yeah, there's nothing in my, I'll say this right now, there's nothing in my contract personally. I'm not saying others are not telling the truth. I'm just letting you know that for me, and whenever I signed and what I signed, nothing in there, nothing that was ever presented to me that had anything in there that said, like, if you don't get paid on time, you can't talk to another member about it, or something like that would block me. There was nothing in there that would block me from asking those questions, checking with others on if their stuff was good or whatever. Get a modified. Yeah, but that wasn't just my modified contract. I'm saying whatever they put in front of me at first that I then modified also did not say that in it. If it did, if that was even a consideration, I would not have even tried to negotiate on it. Okay? That's not... So by the time I got there and I was shown something standard to then negotiate on top of, there was nothing like that on mine. So if someone had something like that back in the day, that was probably just an older one or standard for them or whatever. I had never seen anything like that. And I was being talked to during like mostly like 2023. So I'm just letting you know. I just want to like get that clear. But that's not to debunk necessarily what someone else said if that was their experience. But it's just I was like later in the timeline, you know? So that was just kind of what it was for me. But yeah, if there was something in there that said like, if something is happening and then you can't like talk about it to another talent relating to like if you got paid out or not or something, like if I saw something in there that said I can't do that, I wouldn't have even tried to negotiate. No way, no way. You know? That would be a red flag, but I think the two circumstances were very different. Yeah. Things are very different. Did they say they signed NDAs when they departed? Is that what they said? I don't know. I didn't watch. I didn't check into that because that's all very new and I just was hanging out. But for me, oh, they did on departing? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I signed stuff before joining, or like as I was joining, right? Like an NDA early on to cover, you know, any time from there forward, and then and a contract. I have not signed anything since. I have not gone through and had anything new since. Guaranteed. So just so you're aware if anyone's like wondering about that. Seems like everyone got different contracts. I wouldn't look. I don't know what Lily got. I don't know when exactly she got what or whatever. I don't know what was in it. I don't know if what we got was similar or different. I have no clue. So everyone's situation is probably just different, right? I feel like, you know, things were always changing over time, always adjusting. I'm sure things changed after I negotiated a bunch of stuff. They probably looked at what I asked for and what I talked about and then adjusted from there, right? So I don't really know. And that's one of those things that I don't go around talking to other people about, of like every detail of my contract, for sure. You know, that's one of those things where I'm like, that's your own stuff. That's for me and a legal team, you know? But there was nothing, there was nothing like saying like I can't talk about money with them or something like that. So, yeah. Yeah, a couple of you brought up like there's like a cultural stigma about it. That's another thing too. Like regardless of what's in contracts, a lot of people, their default is to just not talk about this stuff with coworkers or with anyone adjacent to them, with any peers. Even if there's no rule that says you can't, a lot of people also just won't. And I don't think that's good. I think people should, and that's why I was very vocal. And there were some people that I had spoken to and was like, hey, here's the information I can tell you. What can you tell me? Let's align. And like I said, I held a bunch of meetings and talks together with any of the members who were also being vocal about stuff. I didn't bother everyone with it, like making them all sit down in a meeting with me, because I was like, that's some of them really don't want this like headache right now, you know? So I took the people that were very actively feeling the same way, and I grabbed some of them and said, let's talk about this stuff. So we were able to share some information, but yeah. Yep. You'd likely not talk with other members about your financials. It's a you thing. Yeah, unless there's a problem, there's really no need. So, I take it merch is kind of up in the air for the foreseeable future. Yeah, that's something that's still not figured out. Obviously, the shop for mine was closed down on the 27th. And that's why instead of just announcing and leaving on the same day, just being like, hello, as of right now, I'm gone, I wanted to give a couple days notice to say, hello, I'm leaving in a couple days, because I wanted, if anyone still was doing any merch shit, I wanted you to be able to wrap that up. At this point, with things going the way they are, I don't know what's going to happen, genuinely. I am trying to work on seeing if I can, like, physically take stuff. I want to see how much can get figured out and closed out first. Yeah, I don't know. I truly don't know myself. There's some stuff that people have absolutely been sent, and I don't know right now, let's say you did order something, I don't know if right now the warehouse holding stuff is actively sending stuff out, or if they're like pausing it or what. I'm not sure. So I'm still figuring everything out right now. So we'll see. We'll see. I have a lot of different people that I know that have all offered to send out a truck if I can be allowed to grab everything, and I can just shovel it onto the truck and put it somewhere, so at least I can have stock to start with and then figure out what to do with. There is the issue of, like, if you bought something, if you paid for something and you didn't get it, what do I then cover the shipping to get it out to you? Like, I'm not sure what goes on at that point. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, do I handle that? I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot I'm trying to figure out. So, yeah, but I'm hoping I can at least get it. You said Matara got her remaining merch thrown into a box. Some of it was damaged due to carelessness. I'm very aware. I'm very aware of, yeah, of her situation. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I know a lot of different people with a lot of their own, like, merch pipelines and everything. So at least anything that I can physically grab, I know what I could do with it, I think. But it's a matter of not if I can even get it, right? It's that. So, yeah. Guys, you don't have to keep typing Bricky in my chat. I'm aware that he exists, and I do know him. People keep going, you should talk to him. I actually do know him. I'm not sure if you're aware. I do. Oh my god. No, there are other people that I've worked with more closely, though, for stuff already. So I think I'd be more likely to probably go with somebody that I have, like, done a lot with. I've also done stuff with him, too, you know? Like, so we'll see. We'll see. He is, like, out in LA, so that's good. But, yeah. But, yeah. We'll see what happens, though. I don't know. I don't know. You got all your merch without any issues? Yeah. I think, I'm not sure, like, I just don't know what happens, and there are a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different ways that could go, and I'm curious myself. That's my biggest concern right now, because I know some of you have purchased merch, and I don't know if there's a chance that you might just, like, not get it, right? And if so, I'm already out a bunch of money. Do I just also, like, shell out and cover the shipping? I don't know. Like, I have no clue. I have no clue. So we'll see. We'll see. Henya's anniversary merch is still not sent, she said. Yeah, it's crazy because, you know, I've done merch with third parties while being in VShojo, and that was never a problem. That was never an issue. I was always allowed to do that. I was encouraged if it was someone I really wanted to work with. Not a problem. I also did merch just straight through VShojo's merch stuff as well. And over the winter, we had brought someone new in to work on it who was really good. Really good. So I did my Inquisitor merch drop, and that went really well. Genuinely. And then that person was no longer with us at some point. And then like, you are here, you know? Right? And I'm just like, oh. It was genuinely over the winter. If we were talking like positively about new merch shit, we meant that because we had someone who was doing really well, truly. Really liked working with them. So that's a shame. But I was never discouraged from working with third parties. So like right after I joined, I did a merch drop through a third party entirely and did all that, and that was like no problem. And so I've always done stuff with people, and I have a lot of different merch companies I've worked with. So if I need help with any of that, I literally have like 5 different contacts I could go through, 5 different companies minimum, where I could be like, hey, do you want to take this on? Do you want to take that on? You know, would you like to hold this and we do fulfillment through you or whatever? So no matter what, I'm like more times over than I need to be covered on that, you know? So I'll be chilling on that stuff. It's just a matter of if I can get the old stuff. We'll see. Oh, Comrade, thank you for the 10. Thank you for the 10. I appreciate that. Thank you. Your merch arrived here in Canada? Good. Yeah, I think, I want to get the data of whose stuff was sent and whose wasn't, or whatever. I want to see if whatever place it's stored at would want to work with me and, like, finish up the last few orders sent out since they were paid for. I want to make sure they were paid. I just don't know.
I also feel sorry for the new members, to feel like you made it only to have everything fall out from underneath you. Gotta be sad. Cheer 100, cheer 100, cheer 100, cheer 100.
The thing is with that too, like, from my perspective, they never even, like, got to be members at all. Like, you say the new members, but all they did was sign a paper. They weren't in our Discord. They didn't interact with us. They were probably, like, their own thing together if they got to talk to each other and stuff, but, like, they never even got to do that. So, you know. Like I said, a lot of the names I didn't even know. I didn't even know that they were joining. I saw some people talking about it, and I was like, huh? Like, I had no clue. And I was like, what? I don't know. They're collabing together tomorrow. That's good. They should stick together. I think that'd be nice. But yeah, and from my perspective,
dog, just do please, rah.
Thank you, Zagra. But yes, they never even got to, like, be part of the branding, work on the back end with us. Nothing like that. That's the other thing. One of you said, like, the Lost Monster Girl gen. I literally have, like, this is news to me. I didn't know it was going to be, like, 2 gens. I didn't know, or 2? I don't even know. Like, I have no clue. It sounds like there was going to be another gen or something. The only thing I was aware of was, like, the idol group thing, and it was just a couple of names. Anything beyond that, no clue. I was given, like, a total number of people that they wanted to have join, or, like, a total number of people that they were talking to, and that was it. Anything beyond that, if they've talked about it, that information never got to us. So I've literally learned this through, like, chat saying it. You know, like, I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know, man. Right? I would have liked to have known. But I hope they keep doing stuff together, you know, they don't just, like, drop it or something.
The real conspiracy here is the lost generation of fecal fun girls, as hinted by the caca emote appearing in the chats of multiple members.
Yeah, anyone who has caca in their chat. Shut the hell up. Oh, man. You said the Monster Girls were referring to their original identities, I thought? Yeah, maybe it was something like that. I feel like people are saying that, but, like, did they say that was, like, their concept for their generation, or Is that just them talking to each other because they were monster? I don't know. I genuinely have no clue. The only thing that was confirmed to me, like I said, was the first couple. Oh, one of them said it. Okay, okay. Well, interesting. There you go. Again, I can't even confirm because I have no fucking clue. I remember saying too, I remember talking about it and being like, hey, we don't usually do gens. And I had spoken about, like, internally in meetings, I said, I really liked what we did around when I debuted, which was, we had me join, and then, like, a week later, we had Kuro. And then a couple weeks later, we had Matara. And then a little bit later, we had Michi. And I liked it because I felt like we all had our own time of being, like, the new one. And we had a spotlight on just one of us. But then because we were in close proximity, it still felt like we joined together a little bit, right? And I was like, if we're going to take really small talents, right? Not like existing large brands, and we're going to debut them, I think it'd be cool to not do a gen, to like do them one by one like that, because then they could each have their own time in the spotlight instead of getting drowned out by each other. So I thought that maybe that was like the intent for the future or something. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if that's what I thought, at least. You know, that was the impression I was under, was that was maybe listened to. But yeah, I wanted it to be more baton pass style because I felt like it would help them, right? I don't know, man. Yeah, I really did have a week, man. I don't know. They seemed excited about being gen together. I mean, that was the thing, is like, I didn't know how they felt on it or what they were. I like didn't even know who they were, right? So I know I had given a thought on that, and I was like, well, I liked this because of this. Maybe that would be good. I don't know if that was even said to them. Like, oh, some of the members said this. What do you think? No clue. No clue. IDK, man. I don't know, man. No, it was all within a week or two. It was 2 a day for 2 days. Yeah, they were all back to back. So it was 2 of them directly back to back on day 1, and then the other 2 back to back on day 2, which is usually how generations are done. I mean, you don't do them literally at the same time or anything like that, but you know.
I still remember back in the day when you all played Helldivers Fun Times.
Yeah, it was a while back. It was a long while back. I don't know, man. But yeah, I had no fucking clue. Oh well. Oh well. I hope they still do stuff together. I hope, I mean, all of the existing members, like, I'm still down to do shit. So, you know, you said I'm tired of this year. You're tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. Becca's still on vacation? Yeah, I know. Yeah, she's still on her break. I've messaged the Nova girls too. Reached out to them and checked in on them. So, you know. And honestly, I'm like, I don't know what I can do but try and get my shit figured out and work on the Minecraft server. That's... There you go. You know, that's all I got. So. Did you know Mouse was planning on leaving when you left? When I left, I was the only one for sure leaving. I'll say that much. When I left, I was the one going, I'm doing this. And then Zen was like, I will do that with you, and followed like right after. We kind of like I had decided, I had made up my mind earlier, but then Zen and I kind of like declared it together. Yeah, but I was just like, hello everybody, I'm doing this. Because I was just like, no. And I was hoping that maybe me making that choice, you know, was something that would help other people make their own choice. Because I know Mouse talked a little bit about how that decision was really hard for her because she felt so burdened. She felt like, you know, the group was always on her shoulders. And, you know, like, it made her feel like she couldn't really do much. So my hope was that by me at least being like, I'm out, that would help people. Not just her, but people like her. You know, I feel like anyone who is a founder, it's really, really hard to do that. So, yeah, I was like, well, as someone who still has a hard time, but has an easier time kind of doing this, hopefully me doing this helps people just do what they need to do for themselves, right? So, yeah. Zen was feeling that way for a while if you were watching her. Yeah, exactly, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not just her too. What she was feeling was definitely something that people echoed. And even people who joined later. I mean, some of us, that shit was like everything, right? And I feel like whether it comes from the outside of people making you feel that way or comes from the inside making yourself feel that way, like there are a lot of people who just felt like they couldn't leave, right? They could not. And the thing is, in the creator space, outside of VTubing, it's very normal. It's very normal to join things like this and leave them. Look at esports, which act as talent management. They act as agencies for people. It's kind of like the same thing. There are people signing to new spots all the time, going in and out of teams all the time. And it can be a little dramatic, but usually not that dramatic. But then in VTubing, it's like the end of the world sometimes, the way people treat it. And that's so much pressure for people, you know, to like, it keeps them stuck in one spot. I think it's also because of the group dynamic, but like I said a billion times, like whether or not I'm part of a company with someone does not change how I feel about them, right? So, you know, loyalty's pushed so hard. Yeah. I don't know. It's not that crazy in my mind. It's not that important, right? The loyalty's to individual people, and that's it. For me, at least. But, I don't know. It's been a lot. It's been a lot the past month. I was supposed to have debuted my new outfit already. I had the outfit done and ready to go, and then things were kind of going this way, and I was like, I told the people rigging, I told Iron Vertex, I was like, hey, you can take your time on this, and let's, like, add and change some things, whatever, because I don't think it's happening soon. Originally, they were trying to prep to have it done, like, way earlier. And I had been talking about it way earlier, because it was supposed to be a thing that I did. So I'm going to do it this weekend. I'm going to do it Saturday, as said on Twitter. But yeah, this was supposed to be done. So much stuff that I had was pushed back. A lot of things were unresolved, so I've been rushing in the background to have some things done. A lot of stuff that I would have normally done for a debut, I don't have. You know? There are other things that I will have. There are some people that have come through completely clutch, being like, hey, I saw the recent news. Do you want me to do this? Do you want me to help you out with this thing in time? I can do this before Saturday. And I'm like, okay. So it's been really nice to have some people come through and just be like, I got you, you know, and get to work. So, yeah, my editor, I just did not have it in me to sit there and plan out like a lot of teasers and stuff, and I wasn't really like prepared to sit there and fund a lot of like new art, new assets just for a teaser. You know, some of those are really expensive. I was just like, I don't think I should be doing this right now. And Bark, my editor, was like, I got you. And he just made a trailer and he's like, post this. And I was like, okay. Bark was like, watch this, and pulled it out of his ass. So yeah, he's always cooking. You're so excited for filler text, dude. Some of the shit he wrote in the video, I'm like, what is this? Yeah, he put his entire pussy into the trailer. It was crazy. Yeah, no, I always appreciate that. I was really planning to have a lot of different stuff. I wanted to have like animations and all these other things, but yeah, it all kind of had to get dropped. And I was like, well, I don't want to like restart and then debut this outfit in like 2 months from now. Like, I really don't want to do that, you know? and so people are like, I got you. There's a few people coming through. I also didn't have, I don't have like a new background. I was gonna get a new thing for that. There is something in the works for something else, but like, you know, like extra assets and everything. So I had someone that I had ongoing, like a different background that was gonna be more like a graphic and everything. They saw the news and they were like, I'm finishing this for Saturday. And I was like, okay, all right, thank you. So yeah, there's a lot of really good people coming through. I appreciate that heavily. Space model, same as your current or just new outfit? Yeah, same one. I kind of want to have nearly all of my outfits be on this. I don't want to change around too much if I can avoid it, like changing model artists. I have one artist who drew the base model, that's Zan, and she drew everything on this one here that you see. And then I have another one, Jenny Hero, and he did my last outfit, the Monster Hunter one. So it's on the same base, but he did all the extra stuff. He also did some of the extra arms for this model, like extra assets and things. And he came through and he's doing the new outfit. So yeah, we love him. He's great. He's great. He's wonderful. He's the best. But yeah, we have that coming out. You have extra arms? I have 8 arms. Wouldn't you believe it? No, but yeah, a lot of people have come through to help. They knew I was trying to get this debut together for a while. Initially, I was going to have it done before this outfit, and I swapped the order of them because we were still getting some like design things figured out, blah, blah, blah. And then all this happened, and it just turned into like this happening this summer, which is crazy. I also have something I've talked about so many times is myself and another now former member of the group have like this duo outfit where we had a designer design an outfit for each of us kind of in the same theme, and we were working on that. We were working on merch for that. We were working on like, what do we do for debuting that? We were trying to figure all of that out, and then all of this just kind of like, no, not the sock puppets, that was a separate thing that I did, but all of this kind of threw a wrench in. So now I don't know. You always thought it was a Haruka thing? No, that was separate. That was my own thing. Huge thanks to Marvelous Entertainment for that, but they let me do that stupid sock puppet idea and I love it. But no, this is a totally separate, more serious one that I've had in the works for a while. And that was another thing that we wanted to be done months ago. Did not get done months ago. So now I'm like, we're trying to figure out, there's a lot going on right now with her. There's a lot, but we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with that. Mine is now like done. Like I have it. Hers is done. She has it. We just have to figure out what the hell to do. But I'm about to debut a model. So I'm like, oh, when do I do this? I don't know. Working on it. We'll see. We'll get there. But I have so much in the pipeline that I kind of pushed back. I also didn't want to do like any other outfits and merch drops knowing I would leave, because then we run into this whole issue, you know. So we'll see. So everything was pushed to sometime after. And yeah, we'll see. So we have one that's just my own project this Saturday that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I'm excited for that. And then we have another one sometime after, question mark. I don't know when. I'll figure it out. Do a double model reveal and alternate between them every 30 seconds. Ooh, and they're like different personalities. I should do that. One is normal, one is dark and twisted. And they're just 2 different people. Oh, can you imagine? No, but I wanted to do cool merch with it. We had some stuff, like I have art related to that's like worked on and done, you know, and I don't want to like not also release all of that in its own thing. I don't know. It's a whole concept. It's cool. So I'm just gonna try and get it together and get it done at another time. But it'll be neat, man. It'll be really neat. I'm excited for it. There's another former member where we were gonna do that anyway, but we didn't start working on it until like I started leaving and things like that. So we decided to make that just kind of our own separate project, and now we've got that like slowly ongoing. So I'm still gonna do stuff with people because they're my friends, regardless of whether we're members of the same group or not, or whatever's going on with any of that. So it'll be nice. It'll be nice. There's a lot of cool shit. But I want to show a lot of things soon, but there's also so much happening over the summer. I don't know. I feel like something new happens every week. Something new happens every 2 days. So trying to figure out when to take all of my projects that have just been sitting there and like make them happen is I don't know. I feel like we're like front loading a billion of them, right? I don't know. We'll figure it out. How did you just upload a video from the stream? Oh, I don't know. I've been editing this whole time. Ugh. Yeah, and it's only Wednesday. Everything happens all the time, so much, constantly, man. I'm just overwhelmed, but also not. I'm like there are moments where I'm overwhelmed, and then I'm just kind of like medium-whelmed. Yeah, just somewhat whelmed. Medium-whelmed. Just a little. Haruka said it best, I'm just tired. Yeah.
Captain, it's Wednesday.
It sure is. It sure is. Haruka... I've been talking to her so much. She's been trying to figure out what to do this whole time. And I keep up with her a lot so that she doesn't feel like... I don't want her getting overwhelmed, you know? When Cotton returns, she's gonna be like the Planet of the Apes final scene. Yeah. Though I will say, it's kind of nice to come back to it when a lot of time has already passed. Because I feel like there's like new shit. There's new amounts of information and misinformation every 10 minutes. So people like go crazy and crash out over a new thing and like spread a bunch of misinfo, and then the next day it's clarified or whatever, or later. I think it's kind of nice to come back and just read through like what's confirmed, you know? The mass speculation has cooled down. Has it? maybe from your perspective, maybe it's different because I actually know confirmed a lot of shit. So yeah, no, I still see so much where I'm like, what is this dude saying? What is going on? There's a lot where I'm like, I don't know where some of it comes from. What about Fruit's status? Is her quitting delayed because she came back so late? I don't know what she said. I think she's taken the name off of her name on Twitter. That should say enough. Look, just because someone announces or doesn't announce anything doesn't mean that that's the exact date a thing happens or whatever. Some people are going to handle some things on the back end and deal with it. Some people are going to want to say more. Some people are going to want to say less. I could have left and said nothing. I could have just taken everything off and never uttered the name, you know? Like, I could have done it as quietly as I wanted, and it would have been the same from my perspective. So, you know. All Twitter badges were removed from everyone. Yeah, I like having the little square of something next to my name. If any companies give out the little square, I love the little square. Let me know. I love the little square on Twitter that has the little branded thing. It's cute. I like it. Cheeky, it's time, Cheeky. Charlie, we need a cheeky square and it looks like soap. Charlie, it's time. No, I think it's like a lot of money though. I think I'm trying to remember what the cost was. It's kind of a lot. I don't think Cheeky has the square. Jakey, please. It's pretty expensive. I think it's like 10K. I think it's, no, what is it? It's a base price for the year for the company. And it might be like 10K or something crazy. But then it's like an extra 1,000 per month per account that has the square, or maybe it's per year. Don't quote me. It's something like that. Does anyone know the actual numbers? It's a lot, but you do have to pay per person to have the little badge on. You thought it was 500 a month? Is it? I don't know. I looked up a while back. I don't know what the current pricing is, though. I know it's changed since I looked it up. Let me see. Verified organizations. Yeah, it's so you can have a square in your name. Isn't that so cool, guys? I think the thing I do like about it, though, is it does actually give you a bunch of features. Verified orgs, you get basic and full access. Basic subscription is 200 a month or 2K per year. Full access is 1K per month or 10K per year. Yep. I will say at VShojo we had full access. And yeah, the square just went away. What? Recently. Do they still have it on their account? They have a gold check mark. Yeah, so for me having the square, I believe that cost 1,000 a month to them. Isn't that a really great expense? Isn't that per member? Isn't that like a really good idea, guys? I think it's great when you have a lot of money. I think that's when it's great. But I think maybe if you don't have money, it's maybe not, you know, really a necessity, right? Potentially. I don't know. That's just me, though. I'll message you someone. There we go. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Doesn't it come out of your earnings anyway? That I never saw in my list of expenses, no. That was never in my list of expenses. That was a little benefit. So, I don't know. Y'all will just collab like normal? I mean, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna just hit people up and be like, hey, you want to play this? I was actually just messaging someone back because they just asked me to play a game, and, you know, they were like, what are you doing right now? Do you want to play this maybe in le future? They said le future. But they messaged me a bunch earlier. I didn't see it. It was before I was streaming. The squares were vital to the company. No, genuinely. Okay, I'll say this. Twitter was smart with this. When you have verification, or you have like the premium verification, it bumps you up higher in replies. Which means if you like tweet around, you basically get advertised. You get more people seeing you. There is, if your main thing is being a content creator, there is a lot of value in it. Truly. But it's expensive, so you have to think about it and you have to weigh it and be like, is this worth it for me? You know? But yeah, it definitely does. It's not just getting rid of ads. It's not just putting the square next to your name. It does also give you, you know, a bunch of stuff. But yeah, paying for exposure. Yeah, literally you can pay for exposure. That's how it works. Which I think for content creators, it's the only group of people that really makes a lot of sense. And if you make a lot of money elsewhere and you're like trying to stay relevant, I guess it makes sense, but I don't know. For me, the thing I cared about was not getting ads. That was what I wanted. So also have the monetization for views also on the back side. I think so. I never like interacted with that though. I don't actually know how that part works because I didn't look into it. I was like, I don't I'm not a Twitter Andy, really, so I didn't worry about monetizing it. I use my Twitter to let you know when I'm live, to post about important things. Occasionally, I drop some thoughts there. But I don't really, like... I want to do better with that over time. I've been trying to think about that more, but I don't currently create a lot of content for Twitter, right? I'm just putting it on other places and then mentioning it there. So I never felt like the need to, like, look into their monetization stuff or anything like that. I don't know. I did say the other day, and I'm still upset about it, they got rid of voice tweets. I got a new iPhone for tracking, and I was like, I'm gonna become the biggest voice tweeter. It's gonna be crazy, because it was an iOS only thing, and then they got rid of voice tweets, and now I'm pissed, man. I'm pissed. I wanted to make voice tweets. I was gonna start rambling these long ass podcasts, like 5-minute, 10-minute while I'm outside walking kind of voice tweets. And now I can't. But technically I can. Because what I can do, cover the camera, make a video, talk anyway. It's the same thing. It's the same shit. So I'm gonna do it. I don't care. I don't care. Spaces do still exist. They do this thing that I think is really funny, though. I don't know why the audio does this. They make you sound like you have a lisp. It has this de-essing. So it makes you sound like you have a lisp. I don't know why, but on a lot of people's phones, the Twitter spaces do that to them. I was talking to one of my friends. He was doing a Twitter space, and I was like, you sound like you have a lisp in your Twitter space, but I know you don't. And he was like, do I really? And he listened back to it, and he's like, what the hell, man? He was pissed. He was so mad. I was like, yeah, I don't know why. Something about their audio processing? I don't know. Need an entire Gormanese voice tweet? Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my most favorite thing is to walk around, do stuff either around the house or like I go outside and I walk and I sit there and I send voice notes on Discord to my friends. That's my most favorite thing. So I want to be able to like just do that, you know? The audio sounds kind of shit either way. That's why I'm thinking I need to just record audio, like a video, a black screen, nothing video on my phone and talk into that normally. And then there you go. Voice messages are cancer. I hate them. Does this guy know? Taka. Oh, man. Yeah, no, I have a lot of thoughts that I should speak out on Twitter. I should do it. I don't know. I just hate typing for tweets. I hate it. It doesn't convey what I want to convey ever. Nearly ever. So I work in telco, I do. I don't think you know what I'm referring to, but okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it, man. Twitter nerd voice notes because they feared you. They knew I was about to hit you with that daily morning 10-minute voice tweet. They knew I was about to do a 10-minute podcast every day. Shit was about to be crazy. Crazy. But yeah, I wanna verbally just say I wanna thank. I'm texting. I'm messaging some people back really quick. I have a lot of artist friends who have been reaching out and helping me get some projects done. There were a lot of projects that were kind of dropped or stagnated. And now that they see everything, they're like, oh, now I know why. Would you like me to continue? You know, and that sort of thing. So, yeah. I've been doing a lot of catching up with a lot of them and getting a lot of stuff restarted. So, yeah, a lot of things that I thought weren't panning out are gonna end up back on the menu, which is nice. I'm excited for it, man. Once they file for bankruptcy, can you all buy the rights to stuff that they own? It's not exactly how that works. And that's if. Until something happens, that's an if. I mean, they would have to, before that, liquidate assets or, you know, Yeah, or like something goes to auction, right? There are like all these different ways that things can happen, and that is to be decided. There's no one answer to the question. I don't know that I would want to. If they were like, yo, do you want to buy the IP? I'd probably be like, no, thank you. I'm good, you know? If they, and like, I don't know, what do they even own? There's some stuff that I'm not sure who owns what, actually. Um, they own the IP. I don't know. Desks and staplers. Well, they don't really, I don't think they have a physical office. I'm pretty sure everyone worked remotely. So, I, do they have stuff? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure, man. What is there to buy? They don't own us. They don't own our IPs. So, you know. The wrapped cars, that those weren't theirs. That belongs to Senpai Squad. That belongs to the individual owners of those cars. Like the Henya car is just Oscar's car. That's just his personal vehicle. So no, they don't own those or anything like that. So didn't they have an office in San Francisco? I don't know. Maybe they did have an office somewhere. I'm not sure. I never entertained the idea of like visiting anything like that, or, you know, or whatever. I mean, maybe they might technically own some old assets if they paid for it. So if there were like, I don't know, what could they even own? Like any of the really old videos that were like teasers from a long time ago. Maybe some of those assets they technically own, but those are all used and done, and like, I don't think anyone would need those. So I have no clue. I have no clue, man. I don't know. Yeah, a stapler. Most offices are rented out spaces. Yeah, exactly. They would just stop renting it. They wouldn't, it's not like they own a floor of a building on a big contract or whatever. So he did an IRL stream at the San Fran office. Did he? I don't remember. I don't know if they still had that by the time, you know, that was done. Like by this point. What about the voice packs? I mean, we made those. So I'm pretty sure. I'd have to actually look into that. I don't know. I would think I own that. Because I would only license out my voice to them. Not that they would own it. That would mean that they would have to like own my voice, or I would have to like sell that whole thing to them or something, which is not the case. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Kason said, I'm gonna buy my manager back. Well, I think that was someone that she brought in with her, right? I actually don't know. I don't remember. Did she? I mean, a lot of us really, really liked our managers, our individual managers. Mine, Kenzo, loved to death. Love that manager to death. He's genuinely one of the best people that I've ever worked with. He's great. So, you know, and I still keep in touch with him. Absolutely. I still talk to him. So, you know, that's all good. I think the difficulty is, you know, if like one or two people want to hire a manager, I don't think they can pay them enough for that person to like have a good salary. You really have to have a lot of people utilizing someone. So I think a lot of people need to figure something else. Some people may do other work and work with them. Some people may make enough to hire their own manager. I don't know. It gets complex. But I want them all to all do well, you know? Do well in the future. Since you're independent beforehand, don't you already own everything you need? I mean, everything I need, yes. It's more like, the way a lot of law works is around, let's say it's an art asset. If I paid for it, I own it. if I paid the artist for commercial rights to it, I own it. So that's usually what it comes down to, right? Like, if we did a merch item and I paid for the art for that merch item, or was paid out of like my account, like money that was owed to me or whatever, then you can like articulate that I own it, right? There's situations, depending on where that money came from or whatever, where you might be able to articulate that someone else owns it. Maybe. And it's kind of gray area, you know? It kind of is. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm thinking of that is like the only maybes. But like, yeah, our own IPs and stuff like that, 100% we own those for sure. Always did, always will. Is it known if all staff got their salary? I don't know. I don't poke into that stuff. I have not gone around and been like, oh my God, this, oh my God, that. You know, anything that I've really been checking on has been stuff that pertains to me and just letting others know, if you need help, let me know. But I think everyone's just handling their own stuff. So, yeah. I know there are some people who've spoken publicly saying that they did take pay cuts, like known pay cuts, for some time. So I don't know what was said to them. I don't know what they knew about why a pay cut would be necessary or anything like that, right? Like, I just don't know the extent to which anyone knew. But yeah, I haven't poked into anyone and been like, did you get your pay? Or like whatever. JP staff said that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some people have talked about it. I did hear internally, a couple people did mention that they took pay cuts or you know, stuff like that, or did some things here and there for free or whatever that they would sometimes get paid for instead, etc. Hi, Shoto. Guys, I was crying laughing earlier. It's morning. Shoto's streaming. You know, I pop in to say hi. I usually lurk, but I typed, I said hi today. And he like calls me old. And someone in his chat says something and they're like, he hates grandmas or something like that. And dude starts crashing out about how he loves grandmas. And that shit had me crying. He was like, no, oh! And he was like, I love grandmas. I was in tears. I want you to hear it. Wait, I think I can find it. Yeah, like you. I'm gonna kill you. Let me find it. It was so funny. I just want you to hear it. I was like gonna throw up. I was about to throw up because it was so good. Brother was crying about loving grandmas, and he was so emotional. He felt so much in that moment, you know? He felt so much in that moment. And I want you to hear it. The clip is just called Grandma Crash Out. Okay, I just want you to listen, okay? VOD watchers will not hear this. VOD watchers will never know the joys. He was screaming. I just wanted to share that. So I saw him in the chat. I was like, oh my God. Why are you typing question marks? That's you. That's you. That's literally you. And you were dying. Table slamming. I was like, what is happening? I like just got to the chat, you know? AI go crazy these days. Who's that? Who, me? Huh? I was dead, man. Oh, it came, that's like, you know when they tell you to like yell with your diaphragm, like to push all the air out of your body? That's what that was, man. I don't know. I love grandmothers. Hey, we all have our preferences. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right, you know? And I won't judge you for it. I won't judge you. Ryuko goes, who said that? Look, it won't be in the VOD, okay? So VOD watchers will be like, it never happened. I don't know what she's talking about. It's okay. I like grandmas too, man. I do. A lot of my close friends over the years have been older folks. Okay? I've told you guys about some of my like weird friends, like these odd creatures. And some of them look, some of them are so odd, but they're characters and I like them and they have a lot of wisdom and I think they shouldn't be alone. So there you go. Creatures is crazy. If you knew the way some of them were, you would understand. Okay, you would fully understand what I'm saying. 100%. Yeah, odd creatures. Well, there's one that he only ever wears sleeveless shirts. And but if he likes a t-shirt, he'll buy it and then cut the sleeves off. He's an older guy. He's almost in his 70s. And he just won't wear a shirt with sleeves. Okay? And people that have these like weird ass quirks and are old, they're little creatures. I don't know. He won't wear sleeves. And that's his thing. Okay? That's his thing. There's another one. I told you about the book guy. He buys 50-cent used books from these old used bookstores in the city and that are like not even good books. They're falling apart. They're on their last legs. So if you read them once, they're going to fall apart, right? He'll buy like the worst looking book and then he'll read it. And as he reads it, he'll tear out the page he's done with and get rid of it so the book gets lighter as he goes. And he's like, well, this book, I'm the last one who's going to read this anyway. Why would I carry this whole heavy book? So he just tears the pages out and throws them out as he goes. You know, so when I call these people creatures, I'm not just saying that, right? Like, they do weird shit sometimes. Some of my elderly friends. And I truly mean elderly. He does not eat the pages. I joke about it all the time, though. I always do this bit with him where he'll throw out a page, and if I don't see him throw it out, I'll go, where did that go? Where'd you put that? And he'll be like, I threw it out. And I'll be like, right. And I just start like, I just refuse to admit that he threw it out, and it pisses him off so much. He always thinks I'm telling him he put it in his ass, and he's like, he doesn't want to say that out loud, though. And he's like, it's not where you think it is. I threw it out. And I'm like, okay, sure you did, pal. I just do that bit at him for an hour. You guys should all make older friends. Some of them are actually really normal and they're not creatures, but, you know. The weirdest ones are the best. They're the best. Yeah, a likely story. They're just fun to make fun of. They are. You are the older friend. I'm usually the older friend too. I've kind of resigned myself to that. That, you know, I hang out in a group and they're like, oh, we gotta get grandma out of bed. They always say this shit to me and, you know, I've just accepted it. Because then I could turn around and be like, I'm the wise one. You don't know anything. You're a stupid idiot. And they'll be like, don't call me stupid. And I'll be like, I'm old. I can do that. I'm set in my ways. You can't stop me. And then I just steamroll them until they shut up. You know? And that's the thing you get to do when you're the older one. So, what's my old person quirk? I don't know. I feel like you guys would know better than me as observers. What is my old person quirk? Do I have any? Do I have several? Do I have one? No clue. Telling people to shut up. I mean, when you grow up with a lot of brothers, you get used to just going, shut up, and not explaining. Right? And it's not even meant to be mean. You're just like, it's time to stop, man. Being tall and not bald. Thank you. Thank you. I am tall and not bald. I appreciate that. Yep. Yep. You tend to be verbose on occasion. I was really succinct before I started streaming. And then I started streaming, and streaming rewards extending. It rewards speaking more and filling the time. And I got used to it, and now I'm too verbose. And it's crazy to me how much that's changed over the course of just a couple of years. I think it mostly shifted. It started shifting when I first started streaming, but it got, like, it really did that when I stopped working full time. That's when it stopped. Because there was nothing rewarding me being succinct and everything rewarding me just talking more. So I just started, like, you know what I mean? I started becoming really verbose, but I genuinely wasn't like that before. That's crazy to me how much it's changed. Absolutely crazy. You worked with programmers, there's no way you weren't like this professionally before in terms of precision. What do you mean like this? Verbose? No, it's the opposite. You need to be able to say everything in as few lines as possible. The more complicated, the worse. Personally. Working in tech? No way. Especially giving pitches. Having to describe complex stuff to people who don't know anything about it. You have to be, like, really short with it, you know? You meant precision more than padding? I guess so, yeah. One habit I have is I explain a thing and then I re-explain it a slightly different way, which I think you get used to when you teach a bunch. Or you're explaining something to someone and you have to make sure that they understand, right? You have that one session with them, they have to understand. They have to leave that meeting getting what you meant because you can't go back and do it again. So you get used to, like, you know, I explain a thing and now I do it 3 other ways. Just to make sure that everyone in the room understood one of those explanations, right? I got really used to that, and I think when I started streaming, I started just doing that more and more and more and more. I don't know. You just get used to it. You do. Yeah, it's like that in engineering. Exactly. You have to explain things in layman's terms to people all the time, and you get used to, like, watering things down a lot and then explaining. And sometimes you feel like you get worried that people are going to think you're talking down to them, right? You get worried that they're going to think you're explaining it because you think they're stupid or something like that. But realistically, you're just like, how can I explain this to make sure no one in the room misunderstands, right? when you're used to talking to an audience or to a lot of people, you know, you end up kind of getting used to talking like that. For sure. For sure. But here we are, man. Now I'm anime. So, does it matter? No. Nope. Hi, Milky. How you doing, Milky? How are you? All right, I want to play a game. Let me find it. Also, I gotta say, I'm so tired. Every time I post anything, I keep getting all these bots on Twitter. And they're always like, yeah, something. What do you think about that? And then they tag another user. And they're always crypto bots, dude. Every time. Have you noticed that there's that pattern? Have you been seeing them? I think it's the past month. I'll be like, gonna stream today, and they'll be like, that sounds super fun. Do you want to watch it too? And then they tag like another bot. And I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. I can't escape them. They're everywhere. They're everywhere, man. And they keep tagging each other. They decided to just tag each other. They do it constantly, dude. So I've straight up been talking for 2.5 hours nonstop, lungs and cords of steel. Sometimes I do a chatting stream and I just talk for 6 hours. Obviously not this week so much, but I've been some days getting into game a little faster and just chatting for an hour. Where I can. But some days we sit here and we just talk for however long. I talk for as long as I feel until I feel like I've beaten the topics to death. Or until my brain is like, you want to play a game now? And I go, okay. It's that simple. I've been liking gaming a little sooner into the stream though, so. Again, this week there's been a lot to talk about, so I've been extending again, but I have a lot of days where like hour and a half in, I've just been making sure I'm in game. I was gonna start setting up a schedule of like, by a nearly exact time we're opening the game. Each stream. Okay, let's go here. And then I'll be here. I'll put this down. We're gonna play Grounded. We're gonna play Grounded. I'm gonna turn off my BGM. I've just been playing Dragon Quest music the whole time. I miss a lot of the OST. And they always did really, really, really nice arrangements too.